The top team in NCAA 1AA college football, the undefeated Marshall Thundering Herd, are set to get back into action. Fresh off their convincing road win at Georgia Southern, the Herd's first ever victory in Statesboro. The opponent, West Virginia State, stepping up from NAIA to challenge the green and white. The Yellow Jackets are also 3-0, with all of their victories coming on the road. It's a battle of unbeatens, West Virginia State and Marshall, hooking up next on the Thundering Herd Network. From Marshall University Stadium in Huntington, West Virginia, get ready for college football. It's the West Virginia State Yellow Jackets and the Marshall Thundering Herd. Hello again, everybody. I'm Dave Weekley, joined as always by my partner, Sonny Randall. Well, we've got a battle of unbeatens tonight. West Virginia State 3-0, all of their victories coming away from home, but those Yellow Jackets are trying to sting a very, very powerful team in the Marshall Thundering Herd. Sonny, how do you see the matchup?
Well, David was undefeated, and so was Goliath.
Right.
But I'm afraid David left his slingshot at home. You know, this is really the week that Marshall was supposed to play Missouri. And I'm not so sure that the Tigers wouldn't be a team that Marshall could go out and play them to the hilt. So it's West Virginia State. They'll take their best shot here tonight, and they hope it's good enough.
About 500 fans have made the trip down I-64 from Institute to cheer on their Yellow Jackets. Let's check our keys to the game tonight, son.
Keys for West Virginia State: minimize mistakes. Too many mistakes and the game gets out of hand early. Nothing cheap. They want Marshall to have the long field. They have to have a sound kicking game. For Marshall, just take care of business. Both sides of the ball and the special teams. The intensity level, you want it up there so nobody gets hurt. You don't want to be out there half fanning. A little early success, and that kind of tells those folks of West Virginia State that Marshall is serious and they want to put them away.
Yeah, Marshall is serious. Jim Donnan definitely not looking past this ball game. What about our key performers tonight?
Well, for the Yellow Jackets, Vidal Adams. He'll tote it about 30 times, and he'll have to carry it that many to keep that defense of Marshall's honest. On defense for the Yellow Jackets, Al Dean. Intensity, I've never seen a guy like him. He's the heart and soul of their defense.
When we check the key performers for Marshall, we start with the guy who's stepped in ably for David Merrick.
Well, he's done a heck of a job, been a pleasant surprise. Tim Openlander, 5 for 6 in the field goal department, perfect with extra points. On defense, what a story. Eric Clausen, youngster from right here in Huntington, West Virginia, came as a walk-on, has been a 2-year starter, and I tell you what, he's done a whale of a job for the defense.
He's terrific against the run, Eric Clausen from Huntington. Well, we've got college football for you. West Virginia State taking on the Marshall Thundering Herd. It's a battle of unbeatens. We'll have our kickoff when we return to Marshall University Stadium in a moment. '60s during the game. Wind really not a factor, but we may see some rain. Let's head on down to the sidelines where Mark Martin is always ready, rain or shine. Go ahead, Mark.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. Great to be back with you and Sonny again here tonight. Interesting matchup between West Virginia State and Marshall. Many say, why are they playing? Well, Marshall is certainly glad they're playing because they did have Missouri on the schedule, and Jim Donnan didn't want to go out to the Midwest to play a 1A school. For West Virginia State, this is a great opportunity to just see how far this football program has come under Scott Tinsley as they enter here at 3-0. They get a good payoff for coming down here and playing Marshall. And as Scott Tinsley said earlier this week, instead of getting about 6 or 8 recruits, we can get as many as 18. So we'll see what happens here tonight. It rained before the game, but for now, I'm dressed up for you guys. We'll see you a bit later on.
Yeah, we'll see how long that lasts. He looks pretty good in that shirt and tie, but if the rain's coming, he'll be into the rain gear, Sonny.
I got a couple of lightning rods for him, and I wanted to put him on his helmet, but he's not wearing that helmet tonight.
Well, you know, we had a lot of lightning in the Huntington area about an hour before game time, but now skies are clearing a bit, and we may be able to stay out of the rain. Scott Tinsley, he knows he's got his hands full tonight with the West Virginia State Yellow Jackets. They're coming into this game as heavy underdogs. Jim Donnan, he wants to keep his team focused, obviously, and he wants to stay away from the injuries. Marshall already thin. 6 starters out for this game.
It's a little bit of that, everything to lose and nothing to gain as far as Marshall's concerned, but they just want an outstanding performance from everybody on their football team. They want them to play it to the hilt, and if they do that, they know that they'll be in decent shape.
Marshall has won the toss, and they have elected to receive. Tim Martin and Eric Thomas are set to receive the kick from John Goldsberg of the West Virginia State Yellow Jackets. Marshall sold 17,000 seats for this game, and maybe the late rain here in the Huntington area chased off some of the walk-up crowd, but we are anticipating a pretty good crowd, a late arriving throng for this game, the third ever in this series between West Virginia State and the Marshall Thundering Herd. These two teams haven't met since September of 1958, and this Yellow Jacket team is the first NAI squad to get into this new stadium. Short kick, little pooch kick, taken at the 33-yard line. And that's where the Marshall offense will start. 1st and 10. And it was reserve safety Scott Smythe from Buchanan coming up to make the catch. Pretty good idea. Pretty good idea by West Virginia
almost
State.
thought about signaling for a fair catch.
Seen a lot of that this weekend in college football. Todd Donnan, efficient passer, gives this club a lot of senior leadership. 1st and 10 for Marshall at their own 39-yard line. And right away, he's back to pass. Swings it out to Chris Parker. Parker across the 45 and down to the 47-yard line. A pickup of 9. He's near first down. Let's check the offensive lineup for Marshall University. On the right side, Jamie Wilson and Dan Boslett. Boslett starting for the injured Aaron Ferguson. J.D. Cyrus is your senior center. On the left side, it's Brian Roberts and William Pennell. In the backfield for the Herd, Donnan, the quarterback. The running backs, Parker and Gross. The wide receivers, Martin and Goodwin. Danny White, the senior tight end. 2nd down and a yard from the 48-yard line. Marshall on their first possession, just underway from Huntington.
Todd Donnan's checking.
Short drop. Donnan lets it fly, intended for Brian Reed. He catches the football out of bounds.
Pretty good coverage by Jeremy Taylor.
And speaking of which, let's go ahead and take a look at that West Virginia State defensive lineup. Up front, Rashad Fitzpatrick, Mike Gray's the man, over 300 pounds. Charles Thompson at the other defensive tackle spot, and at the other defensive end, Greg Conwell. Linebackers, Lamaster, Al Dean from Charleston, the leading tackler on this team. Dean and Taylor's the corners, Tunstall and Curitin the safeties. Handoff right up the middle, in the middle of that West Virginia State line. Sticks it to Parker. I don't know if he's got the first down or not.
What, this is going to be close. It'll depend on the spot. I would think they'd have to measure this one. Well, that referee's eyes are a whole lot better than mine. And we're right on the 50.
Marshall needed their own 49-yard line to pick up the first down.
Well, his eyes are not any better than mine. It's really close. Be interesting to see if they go for it, if they don't make it.
And they are short.
And they are going for it, I believe. Yes, they are. Todd Donnan's going back to the huddle.
This is a Southern Conference crew working the game tonight. Our referee is Rocky Good. So on 4th and less than a yard, Marshall going to go for it in their own territory at the 49-yard line. Jumbo packages in. Marshall's going to go with dual tight ends. Danny White on one side and Jermaine Wiggins at the other. Olandis Gary is in at the fullback slot.
9 people on the line of scrimmage. Quarterback sneak. There's a flag down.
Penalty markers are down.
Parker's across the 50 and into West Virginia State territory at the 49-yard line. That's a gain of 5. But now it's 3rd and long. 3rd and about 14.
Third down.
Little delay draw here. Base it up front. Parker gets it to the 50. Stop by Aldine.
Chris Gross did a great job. Took the Sam linebacker Dave LeMaster right out of the play. 3rd down and 14. Ball at the
Shotgun.
50.
West Virginia State fake blitz.
Donnan across the middle, complete. Tim Martin's got it, but I believe he may be short of the first down at the West Virginia State 38-yard line.
Going to be about a yard short, David. But if they went for it before on 4th and inches, you know they'll go for it again. Todd Donnan sets his feet. Martin is wide open over the middle. Big hole in that zone. Martin found it. Todd Donnan found Martin.
Aaron Curitan made the stop. And it is 4th and less than a yard. That's 18 catches now on the year for Tim Martin, by far the leading receiver in the league. Parker over the top.
First down.
Got it. Down to the West Virginia State 35-yard line.
Again, that jumbo package. Chris Parker, the fine tailback for Marshall, goes airborne. Here it is, over the top. They run a lead. Plenty good enough for the first down. Unless you meet the guy in midair, you got no chance to keep him from getting the first down.
Parker's coming off a great effort, 157 yards last week at Georgia Southern in the Herd's first ever victory at Statesboro. 1st and 10 at the 34.
West Virginia State in their 4-3 defense. There's the boot.
Lots of room for Tim Martin. Martin is hit hard as he reaches the 21-yard line. It's a gain of 13 and another Marshall first down.
Charles Thompson is the one that delivered the hit. On the naked boot. Todd Donnan to Martin, who's wide open. Martin takes it back up inside. Charles Thompson is there to make the stop. Maybe the next time Martin will take that ball out of bounds.
Marshall has held the ball for nearly 5 minutes at the beginning of this game. It's a 1st and 10 at the West Virginia State 21. Protection's good for Donnan, and he's got Tim Martin again. Eludes one tackler inside the 10, down to the 8. And it's another gain of 13 and another Marshall first down.
Blown assignment in the backfield didn't seem to bother Todd Donnan.
Over the first 3 games, Martin's averaged 6 catches a game. He's already got 3.
The lone back went the wrong way. Tim Martin runs a square out pattern. Todd Donnan delivers the ball. Martin cuts back to the inside, picks up excellent yardage.
1st and goal for Marshall at the West Virginia State 8-yard line. Intended for Martin. He has got it for the Marshall touchdown. Tim Martin with a touchdown catch. And for Tim Martin, that's his 4th touchdown catch of the young season.
Tim Martin ran a corner pattern. Curitan tried to cover him. This is a heck of a throw in the end zone, in the corner of the end zone, little post corner. Tim Martin's wide open. Curitan's there, but a little bit late. That's 6 for the Herd.
So Tim Martin catches 4 balls on the opening possession. Tim Openlander continues to be perfect from point attempts. 15 for 15 this season. And Marshall takes the opening kickoff and drives the length of the field. And they have the early lead on the Yellow Jackets of West Virginia State. 7-0. Down. Here's another look. Todd Donnan to Tim Martin had covered 8 yards, Sonny.
Little post corner route by Tim Martin. Todd Donnan gets just enough air under the ball that Martin can run under it. Ashley has to wait on it a split second. But that's 6 big ones any way you look at it. Great throw and a great catch.
6th touchdown catch of the year for Todd Donnan, who comes into action tonight. 2nd in the Southern Conference in passing efficiency. Tim Openlander with the kick. Aaron Curitan is set to receive it. And he will bring it out from 2 yards deep in the end zone. And not a bad return. Takes it up to the 15. Personally, I thought he was going to stay in there, but he brings it out, and that's where West Virginia State will start 1st and 10 from their own 15-yard line.
I'm not sure he knew what he wanted to do with the ball. A little bit hesitant.
Offensively for West Virginia State, up front, Hill and Fernandez on the right side. Tony Morris is the center. On the left side, Fred Hill and Ted Adams. Juan Carminate, a freshman from Miami, the quarterback. Jahan Smith and Vidal Adams, the running backs. Townsend Clark at the wide receivers. Jones is the tight end for West Virginia State. Long count by Carminati.
One back set.
Swings it across the middle. Incomplete. Tried to swing it out to the running back. Defensively for Marshall, up front it's Clausen, Lyon, Byron Turner, and John Duncan. The linebackers for the Thundering Herd tonight: Parker, Stump, and Jerome Embry. And what a secondary. Grayson and Cunningham on the corners. Johnson and Morrison the safeties. This time West Virginia State will go from the shotgun formation. 4 wide receivers in the pattern. Carminati swings it out. Bobbled momentarily, but caught by Adams, who takes it up to the 23-yard line. That's a gain of 8.
Vidal Adams out of the backfield.
Carminati doesn't play like a true freshman from Braddock High School in Miami. Only 2 interceptions. In fact, West Virginia State's had only 3 turnovers in their first 3 games for Scott Tinsley.
How do you suppose he came all the way from Miami, Florida to West Virginia State?
We're going to get into that. They got quite a pipeline going there. 3rd and a yard.
Didn't make it. Did not make it.
Mike Farrell, the freshman from Charleston and Capitol High School, is stopped shy of the first down marker. And West Virginia State will punt. Travis Phelps. Set to receive it, Tim Martin. Snap is good for Phelps. Short line drive kick. And Martin gets away from it. And it is down at the Marshall 43-yard line. That's a 38-yard punt and no return. So that Marshall defense forces State 3 and out on their first possession. Marshall with a touchdown already on the board. They'll get their next crack at the football when we return. Sonny Randall, Dave Weekley in Huntington tonight. Marshall and West Virginia State going at it at Marshall University Stadium. Thundering Herd with a 7-0 lead. Their second possession will begin from their own 43. Donnan straight back to pass.
Double screen.
Swings it to Parker. Gets a great block into West Virginia State territory. He's got the first down at the State 46. Donnan faked it to Thomas, came back the other way, and Parker picked up the first down.
Little double screen, and I'll tell you what, it drives your defensive secondary crazy. That the linebackers fakes one way, throws back the other. And when you get the ball in Chris Parker's hands in the open field, normally it's dangerous.
1st and 10 from the State 46. Brian Reed comes in motion, so it's trips left.
Screen.
Here comes Martin again, his 5th catch of the first quarter. And he's got another Marshall first down as he takes it down to the State 35. So Tim Martin starting out like a house of fire. Maybe he anticipates he won't be in there in the second half.
Maybe not the second quarter.
5 catches thus far for Tim Martin, the sophomore from Soddy Daisy, Tennessee, a suburb of Chattanooga.
I believe the officials want to measure. I'll tell you what, West Virginia State coach Scott Tinsley said, hey, we're going to find a way to win. They've been believing. And they were hopeful they could find a way to win. But they wouldn't be coming up the interstate if they didn't think they had a chance.
Scott Tinsley told us earlier this week that he's playing Marshall, the #1 team in 1AA football tonight. Next week, he gets Glenville, the top-rated team in NAIA football. He wants...
Maybe he wants Florida or Nebraska the week after.
That's what he says. He wants the big boys the week after that. It is a first down. 1st and 10 for Marshall at the 35-yard line from the eye this time. Short drop for Donnan. Pass is intercepted. Donnan's pass picked off. Greg Conwell. Conwell has Donnan's number. He dropped Donnan for a big sack on the first possession, and now he comes up with an interception.
Todd Donnan, 3-step drop. Tries to throw that stop route outside. I'll tell you what. Conwell, Greg Conwell really went up in there to get the big interception.
Conwell from Walnut Hills High School over there in Cincinnati. And for Todd Donnan, that's his 4th interception of the year. So State has good field position. And Juan Carminate from Braddock High School in Miami, the true freshman, will operate from the shotgun on first down. In and out of the hands of John Smith at the 45. Smith had some room. He lined up as a wing on the right side and came across the formation but could not hold it. Carminate maybe hit a little too much mustard on the football.
John Smith, a freshman running back from Chicago, Illinois.
West Virginia State, 4,400 students. They've got excellent programs in institute and education, criminal justice, and business, and they're trying to take care of business now on their second possession, trying to cash in on the turnover. The interception by Greg Conwell. Marshall leads it 7-0, 7:17 to go first period.
The green jerseys were in the neutral zone. Guessing just a little bit. Or maybe the folks from West Virginia State moved. Yes, they did. Once you see movement out of that offensive line, boy, that turns you loose. A little fin. Watch the center.
Dead ball.
Oh, yes. You see the ball, the center, that ball flints just a little bit, that will draw a crowd.
You know, we mentioned earlier that West Virginia State hasn't had too many problems with turnovers, but penalties have been a problem. That's their 25th penalty of the year for 216 yards. Second down and 15. The line of scrimmage is now the 41. Adams, nowhere to go. And you told us about him in the pregame, Eric Clausen. He's doubly tough on run support, and he wrapped him up for a loss.
Clausen came to Marshall as a walk-on.
You know, Adam,
right here in Huntington, West Virginia, and has been a 2-year starter. Clausen does a heck of a job of getting off the block. Mike Farrell tried to make the block. Clausen's off the block and makes a stop.
So West Virginia State offensively going in the wrong direction here. It's 3rd and long, 3rd and 18. The line of scrimmage is the 38, and once again, Carminate will go from the shotgun.
Marshall showing blitz, and here they come.
Shannon Morrison with the safety blitz, and the pass is caught by John Smith, and frankly, Smith would have been better off to let that one go. That's going to be a loss of about 8 yards. And it was John Duncan, the sophomore from Middletown, Ohio, who made the stop.
I'll tell you what, Carminate, yeah, he missed a snap there. That was a heck of a catch. Probably wish he didn't catch it.
John Duncan coming off a great game last week.
There's 10 of them coming.
And they got it. They got it. Thomas Maxwell blocked it. And Marshall will have it at the 5-yard line. Thomas Maxwell from Decatur, Georgia, fired through and blocked the punt.
They have 10 on the line of scrimmage. They have the block on. Watch this. Well, I'll tell you what now. Thomas Maxwell really laid out. Laid out, was right on the ball.
And it's a sea of green hustling after that football. And we talked about it in the open. West Virginia State wanted to make Marshall drive the length of the field. They'll start this drive from the 5.
Didn't want them to have anything cheap. Gross going the wrong way. And
pitch to Parker. A slow developing play, no gain. And it's big Mike Gray wrapping him up for the stop.
And that's a lot of Gray.
Yes, it is. 6'3", 325 pounds. Another member of the West Virginia State squad from Capitol High School in Charleston.
Has not missed many meals. Big fella, but he is a player.
No gain on the play. Marshall will go with 2 tight ends. Sean Goodwin is a wing to the left. Boot
Naked boot.
Donnan,
All along.
touchdown, Marshall Thundering Herd. Goodwin had 2 touchdowns last week against Georgia Southern, and he's on the receiving end of a 5-yard touchdown pass from Todd Donnan.
Todd Donnan sprints to the wide side of the field. Here he is, actually on a boot. Sean Goodwin runs a deep square out all alone. Chris Gross, the fullback, was the closest one to him. Excellent pattern, excellent throw.
The senior from Sussex, Virginia, Openlander,
Yes.
tacks on the extra point. 2 possessions, 2 touchdowns for the Thundering Herd. 4:58 to go, first period. Marshall leads West Virginia State 14-0. West Virginia State nothing. Todd Donnan with his second touchdown pass of the first quarter. Sonny?
Little naked boot. Sean Goodwin runs a deep square out. That's 6 points. Any way you slice it. Well executed.
Aaron Curitan set to receive the kick from Tim Openlander. And Openlander, who played in front of his parents last week in Statesboro with the kick. Curitan will take it.
Stepped out of bounds.
The referee didn't see that. And Curitan has all kinds of problems.
And that'll be half the distance to the goal line. He'll put it on about the 1 yard line.
I was going to say
that's already back at the 2.
That's going to be a 1-yard penalty.
I would have sworn he stepped out of bounds.
Frankly, Sonny, I thought the kickoff was going to sail out of bounds. I think I would have
I
let.
think that's what I think that's what the young man was thinking. Curitan thought they was going to go out of bounds. Here it is. Let's see if he steps out.
His foot's on the line right there.
If not, it's awful close to the line. He might have wished it had gone out.
We have a clip on the run back on the white to be half the distance, 1st and 10.
Mickey Matthews, he loves this. His defense has West Virginia State backed up at the 1. And if you're Scott Tinsley, this is a very, very dangerous situation right here.
You're ball at the 2 and it's half the distance to the goal line. That's a pretty good place to get a penalty.
You're working out of the shadow of your own end zone. They're going to go for the full house backfield. Going to plow it in there for a gain of about 1 yard. And that was Adams on the carry.
Adams is the ball carrier.
And if you're Scott Tinsley, West Virginia State's fine head coach, you don't do anything silly down here.
Gain of about 1. Second down.
Marshall took the opening kickoff, drove the length of the field, scored on an 8-yard touchdown pass. Todd Donnan to Tim Martin. Then West Virginia State had a punt blocked by Thomas Maxwell. The Herd took it, 1st and goal at the 5. And
Tamalati, he doesn't like what he sees.
No.
And they can't get folks lined up for anything right now.
Donnan tossed his second touchdown pass of the first quarter, a 5-yarder to Sean Goodwin. And that's where we stand, 14-0 with 4:08 to go in the first quarter. And while we've got a moment, we want to remind you that announcers for this game have been contracted for and approved by Marshall University. Any use for broadcast or other transmission of this game without the written consent of Marshall University and Creative Productions is prohibited. Now, Sonny, you mentioned a moment ago about the number of Florida players on this West Virginia State roster. They have about 10 players this year from the state of Florida.
They got to send a bus down there, didn't they?
Yep.
Just picked up as
Practically.
many as they could.
They had a player on their squad last year, a transfer from Utah State named Willie Laster. And he went to Miami Senior High School. Now, he is not on the team this year because of academic problems. But he really opened the pipeline up for Miami Senior. Many of the players at Miami Senior sent tapes to West Virginia State. So there are about 10 guys from the Sunshine State on this West Virginia State roster.
That's what happened at Eastern Kentucky. You know, you get 1 or 2 players from a particular part of the country, then you go back and get as many as you want. As long as those at your place are real, real happy.
This state roster is peppered with transfers. We'll run them down for you in just a moment.
Look at the throw.
Caminante wants it all.
All of it picked off almost.
Went for the interception. Instead, it's a huge gainer for West Virginia State. Jay Townsend.
Jason Grayson thought he had the interception. I did too. Went right over his head. You've got to play the ball. Here it is. Caminante from his deep in his end zone. Jason Grayson thought he had the interception. Went right over his head. Jay Townsend
is the guy that picks the ball up the wing from West Virginia State, makes a big gainer.
Would you believe he's the brother-in-law of Marshall's defensive back coach, Brad Lambert? You think they're going to be talking about that over the table at Thanksgiving? You bet. 1st and 10. State now at the 49-yard line. Adams going to get outside. Can't get away from Brian Stump from Grantsville. Drags him down from behind for no gain.
Vidal Adams. He's the workhorse for West Virginia State.
Adams is a transfer, too. He started his career at the University of Richmond. In fact, he gained over 100 yards in his first varsity game against the University of Rhode Island. But chronic knee troubles kind of short-circuited his career with the Richmond Spiders, and now he's picking it up at West Virginia State. And he is the man coming into action tonight of West Virginia State's 350 ground yards. He had earned 285 of them himself, averaging 95 yards a game coming into play tonight.
And because of that knee, he was a question mark here this evening.
He was. Carminati out of the shotgun again. The pass was intended for John Smith at the Marshall 48. Jason Grayson had the coverage, incomplete.
Jason Grayson wanted to make up for that miscue a little earlier. He just misjudged the ball. I thought it was picked off.
Let's head on down to the field where Mark Martin is standing by. What's up, Mark?
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. Well, you talked about Jay Townsend and Brad Lambert, Marshall's secondary coach, being brothers-in-law. A little bit of a family feud in this game. I guess we need Richard Dawson, but I talked with Brad Lambert before the game, and I said, what's the deal? You're getting
Flags
your defensive backs ready?
On 3rd and long.
Got to be able to read lips to understand Mark.
And West Virginia State continues to be plagued by penalties.
Dead ball, false start, offense, still 3rd down.
A little movement that offensive line.
3rd and 15, line of scrimmage now, the State 45.
Marshall was showing blitz. Folks in that offensive line for West Virginia State got a little anxious.
Smith comes in motion, and Vince Parker, the middle linebacker for the Herd, just bowls over the right guard.
Tony Morris. I'm not sure whether Morris moved or not. If it did, it'll cost the Herd 5. Yeah, he moved. When there's movement up front, that offensive line, you're going to feel some heat. A little flinch or anything will bring a green jersey. Any kind of movement.
So now, after having the football out at their own 49-yard line, the line of scrimmage is the West Virginia State 40. It's 3rd and 19.
Blitz. Marshall showing blitz. And here they come.
Whoa. Carminati is able to get it off. Is that going to be ruled intentional grounding?
I'll tell you
No.
what, he didn't have a receiver close to that football.
No, it's going to be ruled as an incomplete pass. But Vince Parker, the senior from Chicago,
He was the first one there.
he was on him right now.
Here it is. Juan Carminati. There's Vince Parker. Got some help, too.
Yeah, John Duncan's in there.
I didn't see a receiver anywhere close with a white jersey.
So Travis Phelps is back in the game. His last punt was blocked by Thomas Maxwell. It looks as though the
They got
Herd
the return on this
yeah,
guy.
they're set for the return. Tim Martin's back at the Marshall 30-yard line.
They're going to kick it away from him. It's a pretty wise choice.
So officially, that will go as a 22-yard punt and no return.
I still think that's better than kicking it to Tim Martin in the open field.
Marshall still, though, has good field position to start this drive from the 38-yard line. And right now we're beginning to see some of Marshall's second-line talent in the game. Mark Wicks, the redshirt freshman from Bethel Park, PA, is checked in. And Wicks will line up as a flanker.
He can run and catch the football. Fakes the toss sweep. Now we'll see him.
Can he get away? Slips up to the 44-yard line. So that was a new look for Marshall right there. Wicks lined up as a wide receiver to the left side. I think that's the first time he's done that this season.
with great speed and quickness, the only thing you want to do is to get it in his hands. You don't care how you get it. You fake the toss sweep to Parker, throw it back to Mark Wicks. Wicks does the rest. He is awfully quick.
Jeremy Taylor, the corner on that side for State, ran him out of bounds. It's a gain of 6, 2nd down and 4 from the 44. Marshall leads State 14-0. 2.5 minutes to play first quarter. There's the handoff to Chris Parker, and he slices up to midfield. He's got the first down. It's a gain of 7.
You know, there's just so much talent in that offensive backfield. They've got to get him in the game somewhere. You can take Wicks and a Thomas and put them out there at the flanker spot and just get the ball in their hands. They'll do the rest.
Marshall feels they've got the deepest set of running backs in school history, and it's tough to argue. We'll run them down in just a moment. 1st and 10 from midfield. Donnan straight back to pass. The protection is terrific, and the pass is batted down by Gray. Big 77. I mean, big 77.
I didn't know you could get that high off the ground. That vertical jump of his must be pretty good.
Donnan tried to slip it over the middle to his tight end, Danny White.
Danny Wright ran a little delay. Gray would have none of it. Watch 77 right on the line of scrimmage. Up in the air to knock it down. Almost takes it out of Wade's hands.
Marshall right tackle Jamie Wilson is down on the field. Wilson, a first-year starter. And Marshall can't afford any more injuries in that offensive line. In fact, this is the 4th game of the year for the Herd and their 4th consecutive week with a new look at the offensive line.
How much did you see Gray weigh, David?
Gray, he's supposed to weigh. They list him at 324. Well, Wilson is able to get off the field under his own power, and that's good news for Marshall fans. Marshall already missing Aaron Ferguson up front. He's sitting this game out after suffering a concussion last week at Georgia Southern. 2nd down and 10 at the 50.
Screen.
Martin. Slipping away. Inside the 30 and out of bounds at the West Virginia State 27. A gain of 23 for Tim Martin.
He's having a career here in the first quarter.
Got a half dozen catches in the first quarter.
For a lot of receivers, it's a career. Here it is. Todd down and outside. Just runs a hitch pattern. Tim Martin dances his way outside. Still dancing. Picks up extra yardage on his own.
On first down, Donnan wants to send it down the field to Brian Reed.
Might be. No.
First, it was nearly intercepted.
Been almost caught.
And then Brian Reed nearly caught the deflection for a touchdown. With Jamie Wilson out of the lineup up front, Sonny.
Here it is.
Mike Webb's in there now on the offensive line.
Todd down at first. He faked that hitch or that stop pattern. Then went deep downfield to Brian Reed. Watch it. Almost. He had it all over his body.
Jerome Dean from Capitol High in Charleston nearly had the interception. 2nd down and 10 from the 28-yard line. Here comes the reverse to Eric Thomas. And it's another big play by Greg Conwell. He's already got a sack and an interception. And he causes a huge loss for the Herd.
Conwell has been unbelievable here.
He's been West Virginia State's best player.
Here it is, the reverse. Here Thomas, when both feet come under you, get under the body, you'll go down. You got to keep them out of balance. That center of gravity has to be balanced a little bit.
That's a loss of 12 yards, and it takes Marshall out of field goal range. 3rd and 22 at the 40. Donnan wants it all. Picked off. Intercepted. West Virginia State's Aaron Cureton.
That was almost like a punt. West Virginia State will get it on the 20. Aaron Cureton, Todd Donnan trying to go deep in that zone. Aaron Curitan was there to make the interception. And the Yellow Jackets will get it on the 20 coming out. Lancaster, South Carolina. There's a good shot at Scott Tinsley, West Virginia State head coach.
So Marshall's got 2 turnovers here in the first quarter. Both Todd Donnan interceptions. Yellow Jackets have it at the 20. And Juan Carminati will operate from the shotgun on first down. John Smith comes in motion.
Too much time.
Time clock expires. And we've seen in this first quarter that West Virginia State continues to be plagued by penalties.
I think you only get 25 seconds regardless of what league you play in. NAI is just like Division I AA or 1A or whatever.
West Virginia State will make the jump to NCAA Division II next year. And we'll explain to you in a moment why they're not in the West Virginia Conference this season. 1st and 15 from the 15.
2 deep zone, Marshall showing. Going to rush 4.
They hiked it right to the back, Adams, and Marshall's defense is not fooled.
The down people for Marshall stayed at home. Here it is. You called it, Dave. Right to Adams. Will Edwards was there to make the stop for Marshall.
Along with Terrence Worthen in there at the defensive end spot. 2nd down and 13.
Marshall faking blitz and now dropping out. Rushing 4 and covering 7.
Boy, B.J. Cohen really unloaded on Carminati, and he is still down. B.J. Cohen, the reigning freshman of the week in the Southern Conference, who's already got 5 sacks, leveled the state quarterback just as he released the football.
It was intended for J. Dan Townsend, but nowhere close to him. Of course, when you got the heat that Carminati was getting, here it is, right here. You mentioned it, B.J. Cohen. And I'll tell you what, he put his helmet on Carminati's helmet, and that's the reason he's still down. That guy from Marshall continues to make big plays.
He
Number
really
5.
does. He leads the Southern Conference in sacks with 5. Had 2 last week at Georgia Southern, 3 in a game against Morehead State earlier this year. And number 5 from Conway, Georgia, continues to impress. Juan Carminati, the quarterback for West Virginia State, is still down.
Good to see him up, because I'll tell you what, that was helmet on helmet. I mean, he stuck it right in his ear hole. Travis Phelps, I believe, will be the new quarterback.
Travis Phelps was expected to be West Virginia State's starting quarterback this year until Carminati was so impressive in preseason drills. A sophomore from Louisa, Kentucky, Lawrence County High School.
Well, he'll see Marshall's blitz right out of the box. And here they come.
Sends it across the middle. Incomplete.
Jason Grayson.
And Phelps got a hit. And it was Cohen again. Phelps is slow getting up, so B.J. Cohen,
here it is.
Really tough.
I said that Marshall was bringing some heat. And they did just that. Well, I'll tell you what. Will Edwards again there to help out.
Chuck Vance, senior from Charleston and Capitol High School, will punt it this time. And Marshall will go with dual safeties. That is Theron Todd, who will watch the ball get past him, picks it up at the Marshall 47, back into West Virginia State territory, returns it to the 45-yard line. That's a 7-yard return on a 39-yard punt. So the Marshall offensive unit is back out onto the field. Just 6 ticks remain in the first quarter.
Marco, what is he doing over there?
Loafing.
You need to get excited like some of these fans here tonight.
Yeah, they are sitting on their hands a little bit. A first quarter featuring the sparkling plays of Tim Martin. And for West Virginia State, Greg Conwell has looked very, very sharp.
Parker.
Parker carries it down inside the 40 to the 39-yard line, gain of 6. And that will do it for the first quarter of action at Marshall University Stadium. 15 minutes in the books. And the unbeaten Marshall Thundering Herd leads undefeated West Virginia State 14-0. It's a West Virginia State. Marshall's got the football 2nd and 5 at the state 40-yard line. Todd Donnan with 2 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions as well. Here comes Parker.
Still on his feet.
Down to the 25-yard line. That's a gain of 15 and a Marshall first down.
Another look. Delay draw. Gross out in front. Parker breaks tackles. Chris Parker. Big first down, but there's a flag down. Let's see what it is. Still talking it over.
Oh, personal foul. And it'll come from the spot of the run from the 25-yard line. That'll move it all the way back to the 40.
That's a big swing.
Instead of 1st and 10. Marshall has it now at the 40-yard line.
Must have been a late hit by one of the offensive linemen. Normally you put it on the lineman. I've never known too many wide receivers or flankers who would hit anybody late.
So Marshall has it as a first down, but the line of scrimmage is the 40.
Screen.
Tim Martin. And he still continues to be a mystery to West Virginia State. They can't get a grip on number 1. He's got 7 catches in the first 16 minutes of this game. Takes it down to the 36. It's a gain of 4. 2nd down and 6.
Mike Gray. 3-yard gain.
Tim Martin, great moves. Gray collars him. Todd Donnan sprints right to the wide side. Martin's open.
Does he have it?
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does. At the 20-yard line, that's a gain of 17. Catch number 8.
Got at least 1 foot down in bounds. Might have had both of them in. Here it is. Todd Donnan sprints to his right. Tim Martin, deep square out. Yes, sir. He got 1 in there.
Boy, that's a good play by Martin.
Heck of a play to get 1 foot down in bounds.
Chris Parker, he brings the play in from the bench, doesn't he? Goodwin and Martin split out wide to the left. Brian Reed is to the right. Parker, the lone setback, and he gets the football. And he is hammered in the backfield for a loss by West Virginia State. Big Mike Gray and 43, Greg Conwell. He's been everywhere for the Yellow Jackets here in the first half.
Conwell has been big here early.
Really played well.
Along with Gray. From ground level. Little hand back. You base it up front. Gray would have none of it. All 340-some pounds. You never want to be on the bottom.
No.
I mean, with him, you want to be on top.
Trips right this time. 3 wide receivers to the right. Theron Todd is in the lineup. Donnan sends it down the field, intended for Todd, and he's got the touchdown. Theron Todd with a touchdown reception.
That was a great throw. Todd Donnan had to needle that ball.
2nd touchdown catch of the year for Theron Todd. 3rd touchdown of the half for Todd Donnan.
Here you see Donnan flushed, but he threads the needle here to Theron Todd, who's wide open in the end zone. Not exactly wide open. Makes a heck of a play.
Donnan unleashed the ball right before he was crunched, and Theron Todd was able to keep concentration and pull it in for the score.
Openlander's still perfect.
Openlander with the extra point. And Marshall leads West Virginia State 21-0. Thundering Herd having it their way at home. It's turned out to be a pretty nice night for football. Marshall leads West Virginia State 21-0. Todd Donnan has 3 touchdown passes. Tim Martin, Sean Goodwin, and the latest to Theron Todd, a 21-yarder, 21-0. And Tim Openlander getting a workout tonight. Aaron Cureton, who already has an interception, set to return the kick, and he will take it from the State 2-yard line. Across the 20.
Still on his feet.
Good looking return.
Still on his feet.
Jermaine Swafford runs him down, but not before he returns the football to the 30. That's a 28-yard kickoff return for Aaron Cureton. Scoring drive for the Thundering Herd, a half dozen plays, 45 yards in just under 2 minutes. Donnan to Theron Todd, a 21-yarder for the score. And Marshall once again tonight playing without the services of Ricky Carter. And Travis Phelps will stay in there at the quarterback spot. The starter for West Virginia State, Juan Carminati, was knocked out of the game by B.J. Cohen on West Virginia State's last possession.
Toss sweep. The ball's on the ground.
Ball is on the ground. He tried to pitch it back to Jahan Smith, the junior from Allen Junction, West Virginia, and Mullins High School. Never had it. They were lucky to get it back.
Here it is. Toss sweep. Back wasn't even looking. Jahan Smith hit him right in the sack. Maybe he didn't want the ball. A little miscommunication there between he and the quarterback.
Marshall's got that second team defensive line in there now, as Phelps will operate from the shotgun on 2nd down and 13. The line of scrimmage is the State 28.
Snapped it to the up back, Adams.
And Adams has nowhere to go. B.J. Cohen and Will Edwards right there to wrap him up.
D-Dale Adams. Edwards would have none of it.
Adams is a real team leader. As we get a good look at Will Edwards in there.
Goes down 4 for Marshall tonight. They've stayed at home.
Edwards, a junior from Barbersville, 5'9", 250.
That direct snap to the back, that won't get it.
Second time we've seen that from State tonight. John Smith is in the backfield with Phelps. Phelps sends it down the field. The pass is caught out of bounds at the 36-yard line, but it is short of a first down. The pass is caught by Chuck Vance.
Wing back. First time you called his number this evening.
You know, Carminati was in there on the 3rd down play. Carminati with the pass to Vance.
Pretty good throw. But Vance, not enough for the first down. And West Virginia State's having a tough time getting 11 out there.
Vance will stay in to punt the football.
And they ain't got but 10 out there now.
Here comes the 11th. He's on the field.
And he was still running. That'll come back.
Theron Todd calls for the fair catch at the Marshall 40-yard line.
I expect you'll bring this one back and make him punt it again.
Well, I don't know, Sonny. What do you think? I mean, that was only a 26-yard punt. You might want to just take the football
Well,
at
you
the
got
40.
good field position. I'd make him punt it again.
Yeah, West Virginia State's having their problems on the punt team tonight. They've already had one punt blocked by Thomas Maxwell that led directly to a Marshall touchdown pass. Todd Donnan to Sean Goodwin.
Marshall says, let's just have the football at the 40 and let's get on with it. But that 11th guy, he couldn't get set over there.
No.
He was still running.
Have a legal motion on the offense. It's declined. First down.
So Marshall will have the football at the 40-yard line. 21-0. Thundering Herd leading over West Virginia State. 11:16 to go, first half.
Donnan looks to throw.
And he gets it to the
Wade,
big tight
the
end.
big tight end.
Danny White down to the State 43-yard line. That's a gain of 17.
Danny White ran a corner. The Marshalls tight end away from the formation. Todd Donnan to White. Catches it at the 50, and the big man rumbles for extra yardage.
Marshall coach Jim Donnan calls Danny White the best blocking tight end he's ever had, and that takes in a lot of territory when you think about players like former NFL stars Kellen Winslow and current Miami Dolphin Keith Jackson.
Boot.
Donnan with a great play fake, and the pass is to White again. Rumbling. Carrying tacklers down to the 20-yard line. A 23-yard gain and another Marshall first down.
And I tell you what, Todd Donnan had to pay for that one. And I mean pay dearly. Al Dean was all over him. Look at him. Danny White makes a heck of a play. The big tight end. You talk about his blocking. His hands have gotten a lot better. Much improved as a pass receiver.
Here is the pitch to Parker. Parker pouncing off tacklers.
Just like a pinball.
Sideline had to make the stop there. It's a gain of 5 for Chris Parker. Parker at his current pace could go over 2,000 yards this season if Marshall plays 15 games.
Jeremy Taylor is the injured West Virginia State player. He can't get up. Tried to get up. Defensive back.
Jeremy Taylor played his high school football at Hurricane High School. He's a native of Culloden. And this is what you didn't want to see if you're West Virginia State.
They're awfully thin. Walk a little better. Little hits in his giddy up. Jeremy Taylor helped off. You could see Scott Tinsley is a bit concerned, and he should be.
You know, after West Virginia State plays Marshall tonight and on the road at Glenville next week, they'll finish the season with 5 consecutive home games. So Scott Tinsley would like to get through this rugged stretch, get home, and if he can run the table, he'll end the season at 8-2, and that probably will be good enough to make the NAIA playoffs. 2nd down and 5 at the 15-yard line.
One back set. In the end zone. Corner pattern. Tim Martin. Touchdown!
Tim Martin with his 2nd touchdown catch of the game. And what a terrific over-the-shoulder catch by the sophomore wide receiver.
And that was a heck of a throw, too. Todd Donnan sets his feet. Tim Martin runs a corner route. You call it a corner, and I tell you what, a little air under the ball, you could not throw it any better. Tim Martin runs under it. What a great throw and a great catch. I'll tell you what, when it comes directly over your head, that's a tough, tough catch. None of them are tough for Martin.
What a night.
What a career.
And we still got 10 minutes to go in the first half. Tim Martin with 9 catches, 2 of them for touchdowns. Tim Openlander adds the extra point. 10-14 to go in the first half. It's been all Marshall, 28-0. Let's go, and they trail 28-0 with 10 minutes still to play in the first half. Todd Donnan with 4 touchdown passes, over 200 throwing yards thus far. Curitan receiving the kick from the West Virginia State 3-yard line.
Another pretty good return.
Yeah, it takes it out over the 20 to the 22-yard line. That's a kickoff return and 19 yards. And we'll see who comes out to quarterback West Virginia State.
Caminati was standing right next to Scott Tinsley, so you think maybe he's going to be the guy to come out.
He's heading out there. Marshall scoring drive, 4 plays, 60 yards in just over a minute. 15-yard pass to Tim Martin. His 2nd touchdown reception of the game. He's got 6 now on the season, and what a night. 9 catches thus far.
West Virginia State's in that jumbo look.
Yeah, full house. Pitch back to Adams. Oh, and he has just stood up and stopped. A terrific play for the Marshall Thundering Herd defensively by Ryan Lipscomb.
First time you call Lipscomb's name tonight. Linebacker makes a heck of a play.
Senior, or rather sophomore from Chester, Virginia, 5'11", 215. Textbook tackling, wrapped him up.
Adams you don't bring down normally with just one man. Now we're in the shotgun.
And Marshall's got 5 defensive backs in the game, and they snap it directly to Adams again. And Eric Clausen and Will Edwards wrap him up shy of the 20-yard line. Third time tonight out of the shotgun formation.
And the third time it was stuffed.
It hasn't worked yet.
Well, they keep working on it to get better as the evening goes on.
Marshall trying to put in some of their second-line defensive talent. Thomas Maxwell is on the right corner now. And in there at the safeties, Marshall with a pair of new faces, Tim Floyd and Yuri Hill.
Getting from the gun.
Carminati back to pass. Sends it down the field. Thomas Maxwell's got the best shot at it. Incomplete at the 45-yard line. For West Virginia State, the pass was intended for Nate Clark, the senior from Sarasota, Florida.
Maxwell had excellent coverage on Clark. That was just man-to-man. Thomas Maxwell was all over him. And the Yellow Jackets will be forced to punt it out of there.
Nate Clark had a pair of touchdown catches last week in West Virginia State's big win at Cheney State in Philadelphia, 21-18.
Little line drive. Tim Martin again.
Martin will take it at the 48-yard line.
Uh-oh, look out.
Look out. 40.
Still on his feet.
Ball popped loose, but out of bounds, and Marshall will retain it at the 18-yard line. That's an 18-yard punt return for Tim Martin, who's playing like a man possessed tonight. 8:21 to go. First half, Marshall's got a 28-0 lead. They'll start this drive from the Yellow Jacket 30. Oh, they lead West Virginia State 28-0. 8.5 minutes to go first half. Tim Martin now with 134 all-purpose yards. Having a big night. Already with 9 catches, 2 touchdown receptions for the green and white tonight.
Down and checking at the line of scrimmage.
Don wants to send it long for Martin.
Oh, my goodness.
Flags down.
I think they get called interference.
Tim Martin nearly made another spectacular over-the-shoulder catch.
Martin was bumped down there. It'll go against the Yellow Jackets.
There were 2 West Virginia State defenders trying to stop big number 1 for the Marshall Thunder.
We had defensive pass interference, 15 first down.
And, you know, Martin almost came up with this ball. I mean, it just went right off his hands at the last split second. Another one of those over-the-head catches.
15-yard mark off from the line of scrimmage to the 30, so Marshall has it 1st and 10 at the 15. And we'd like to take a moment to thank Stewart's Hot Dog of Huntington for today's crew meal. Stewart's, serving the Huntington area since 1932, owned and operated by 4 generations of the Mann family.
They put some extra things in that crew meal tonight.
Yeah, I know they did. They got a couple of extra ones, and we appreciate it. Hand off Eric Thomas. And the sophomore from Largo, Maryland, takes it down to the 12-yard line for a gain of 3. You know, we talked about Marshall's incredible depth at the running back position this year. And don't forget about Eric Thomas. He's sort of like the forgotten man back there. He'd start for a lot of Southern Conference teams. When you talk about Chris Parker and Eric Thomas and Mark Wicks and Olandis Gary and Javon Darling, I mean, just the list goes on and on.
Marshall's offensive backfield coach Leon Perry, tough to keep them all happy.
He's blessed with quite a group.
He says he knows, they all know their role and understand it.
Donnan,
screen.
Martin's got 10 catches now.
Look
inside
out.
the 10.
Look out.
5.
Touchdown.
Touchdown. Marshall Thundering Herd. Tim Martin.
Just put it in Martin's hands.
What a night for Tim Martin. His 3rd touchdown catch of the first half.
Here it is. That screen. Outside. Martin does the rest. Gets a heck of a block by Sean Goodwin. Goodwin is the one that strung him. You love to see receivers help one another. That time Goodwin blocks and Martin gets in the end zone with it.
Openlander in again. Brian Day, the freshman quarterback from Northern Virginia, is the holder. Shoots it right through. Really took out our cameraman over there on top of the facilities.
He's all right. He's waving at us.
He's waving up there. 35-0. The Thundering Herd with the lead. And what a night for Tim Martin. 10 catches, 3 touchdowns. Todd Donnan with 5 touchdown passes in the first half.
That little hitch or stop pattern outside. You just get the ball to him out there in the open field. Got excellent blocking. Tim Martin does the rest.
35-0. So we could be heading to record territory. Marshall's only 1 touchdown away from their average of 43 points a game. Budweiser scoreboard. You saw East Tennessee fighting the good battle at Auburn. Appalachian State.
They're going to be tough.
They're tough. They handed it to the Citadel. Central Florida.
Kentucky's first loss.
OU tried to rally late, but Ball State wins over the Bobcats in the MAC. Notre Dame knocks Purdue from the ranks of the unbeaten. Ohio State humbles Houston.
They pitch a shutout.
Penn State pulls away from Rutgers after the Scarlet Knights ran it in the first half. Aaron Curitan set to receive the kick.
Curitan might be getting a little tired.
He's had some adventures back there, but on the other hand, he's had a couple
Got a
of
heck
nice
of a job of
returns.
bringing them out.
Openlander. Now he's getting a workout as well. Curitan from the 5. Can he get to the outside? And he is stopped right in front of the Marshall bench at the 28-yard line. But that's a 23-yard kickoff return.
Eric Thomas had to make the stop on the special team.
Let's head on down to the sidelines where Mark Martin is standing by. Go ahead, Mark.
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. Some injury updates for you. Brian Roberts, an offensive lineman for Marshall, was taken off on a stretcher. He has suffered a mild concussion, so they're taking him in for examination. Over on the West Virginia State sideline, of course, we saw Juan Clemente, the quarterback for West Virginia State, go out earlier. He took a real shot to the chin, but of course he is back in now. And also Jeremy Taylor, a fine defensive back, the guy Scott Tinsley says is the surprise of the recruiting class for West Virginia State this season, injured a knee, so we'll be keeping you up on his progress as well. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, Mark, thank you very much.
Here goes Marshall on a blitz.
Carminati takes a big hit. It was the safety blitz by Scott Smythe from Buchanan. He leveled the Marshall quarterback. Mickey Matthews, what a catch over there in the sidelines.
Well, he coaches the defense, and he's a pretty good receiver. Carminati, he's down again.
Smythe got a clear shot at him.
They came on a blitz. Here it is. Coach Matthews, a one-handed catch.
Ooh.
He was a receiver in college. Yes, sir. He wanted everybody to see he caught the ball. Mickey Matthews, what a job he does with the defense.
2nd down and 10 from the 28-yard line.
Marshall coming on the blitz.
We expected West Virginia State to throw a lot tonight, and they have.
It was almost like Carminati's signal for a fair catch there. Ball was on the ground. He was on the ground. And I'm afraid as long as West Virginia State continues to throw the football, Marshall will continue to blitz.
Scott Tinsley, 2-time All-Stater at St. Albans High School in West Virginia, went to Appalachian State after a redshirt freshman year, suffered a career-ending knee injury, and turned to coaching.
He might have wished he chose another profession tonight.
Has a lot of experience in the West Virginia Conference. Carminati lets it fly.
The receiver didn't even look around.
Yeah,
they looked around too late. Jake Townsend. Of course, Carminati had to get rid of the football.
Townsend already with a big gainer tonight for West Virginia State, but they were not on the same page there. And the Yellow Jackets, it's 3 and out. They've got to punt the football again, trailing 35-0 with 6 minutes to go first half.
Hard to believe this team's 3-0 coming in. You mentioned 2 undefeated teams playing here tonight.
West Virginia State edged West Virginia Tech 27-26 in the season opening Regatta Bowl at Laidley Field in Charleston. Then they went to Kentucky State in Frankfort, won that ball game, and then came from behind to beat Cheney State late.
Pretty good punt.
Let's see where it sailed out of bounds.
About the, 48?
From the 48-yard line. That's a 27-yard punt with no return for Chuck Vance.
And I believe that's all for Todd Donnan. Goes Mr. Harris. Larry Harris.
Now Todd's coming back out there, at least for this series.
When I saw him with his helmet off, I thought that was all.
Yeah, I thought so too. And we will see plenty of Larry Harris in the second half. So stay with us. This will be a good opportunity to evaluate many of Marshall's players that you don't normally see out there. Although Larry Harris, when he gets into the game tonight, will be in his 4th game. He's played in every game so far during the early portion of the season. Starting from the Yellow Jacket 48, Donnan to Sean Goodwin, complete. Goodwin is dragged down, given forward progress to the Yellow Jacket 38. It's a gain of 9. It'll be 2nd down and a yard.
Jerome Dean makes a stop for West Virginia State.
Got the Dean brothers. Jerome plays the corner, while Al Dean is the middle linebacker. Al Dean started his career at Marshall and transferred to State.
Sean Goodwin runs the square out route. Donnan gets the ball to him. You can see a host of folks at West Virginia State there to make the stop.
2nd and a yard. 5.5 minutes to go, first half. What a night for Donnan already.
Draw.
Thomas trying to get away, can't do it.
Almost broke free. There's not a whole lot of drop off when Eric Thomas comes in there. Mark Wick comes in there. They've got a stable of running backs here at Marshall. Here comes 2 tights. The 2 big tight ends.
3rd down and a yard. Got Jermaine Wiggins, the true freshman from East Boston, Mass, on one side.
Danny White on the other.
Yeah, and Chris Gross is a wing on that right side right now.
Toss sweep.
Here comes Eric Thomas. And he didn't get there. They stopped him. Good defensive play by West Virginia State, stopping him shy of the first down marker. And Marshall looks like they're going to go for it.
We can understand that call.
Sure. They will go for it. And
here it is, toss sweep. Eric Thomas wants to come back. Pretty good penetration there. Al Dean was one of the folks there to make the stop for West Virginia State.
Loss of a yard. It's 4th down and 2 from the 40. Marshall needs the 37 for the first down.
Sprint.
Donnan sends it down the field for Martin. Can't hold it. He was so concerned, Sonny, with getting his feet
down.
in.
That's right.
Couldn't
Took his
hold
eye
it.
off of it for a split second. You're exactly right, David.
The coverage.
So West Virginia State will take over in pretty good field position.
Yellow Jackets will take over on down at 40.
Want to keep those feet in bounds. You take your eye off the ball for a split second. The Yellow Jackets would like to get on the board here just before halftime. Marshall faking blitz. Here they come.
Carminati incomplete at the 45-yard line, and his intended receiver over there, Clark, was absolutely drilled by Uri Hill.
And if I'm Nate Clark, I come back and tell Carminati to get that ball down just a little bit. Boy, you get it out that, you have to really reach for it. Boy, they can level you from the secondary.
Has a little 1-2 action. Thomas Maxwell and Uri Hill in there to make the stop.
Maxwell, the first one to get there. You want the quarterback to get it down, so at least you got a chance.
Kalen Jackson is now in the game as a defensive back for Marshall.
Marshall on another blitz.
Sending it down the field. Incomplete. Thomas Maxwell had the coverage on Nate Clark.
That was excellent coverage. Clark ran it out and up. Maxwell had him covered like a cheap suit.
3rd down and 10. Well, the fact that Marshall has run out to a 35-0 lead over West Virginia State here in the first half is not totally unexpected, Sonny.
Oh, no. Not really. We thought this was a mismatch. The Yellow Jackets have come in here and battled pretty tough here in the first half.
Carminati drilled again as he released the football by Will Edwards. He has taken a beating back there.
Will Edwards has had a heck of a football game here in the first half for Marshall.
4th down and 10. They'll punt the football.
Here it is. Will Edwards, big number 57.
Ooh.
I'm not sure how much more of that Carminati can take.
Chuck Vance at the punt. We have not seen Marshall's punter, Travis Colquitt, tonight.
Might not see him.
Vance.
This one will be returned.
From the 25, Tim Martin trying to get some room. Not a lot of running room across the 30 up to the 32-yard line. That's a return of 8 yards for Tim Martin, who's had a career night tonight.
Well, let's see who the quarterback might be on this occasion. Here he comes, Todd Donnan, one more time.
Donnan is in there.
I think they need one more score for Todd to get arrested and put on that baseball hat.
Marshall's made some changes in the offensive lineup tonight because of injuries up front. William Pinnell and Dan Boslett are on the left side right now. Jim Lanzo, the 5th-year senior, in at center.
Screen
To Thomas with blockers ahead. To the 45. A 13-yard gainer. And frankly, that play could have gone a long, long way. It was defensed well.
Well, you see Eric Thomas, one of those young backs. His feet just come out from under him. You got to keep a good balance on this kind of field. Screen set up very, very well. Watch Thomas's feet at the end of the play.
You're right.
See there?
You called it.
If you don't keep them under you, you're going to go down on this kind of field. Todd Donnan going for all of it.
Sends it down.
Got Martin again. Oh, hit him right in the hands.
Well, we'll excuse Tim Martin for that one. When you catch 9 passes in the first half,
You're allowed one drop.
you're allowed to drop one, but boy, Donnan put it right on the money.
And that would have been a heck of a catch. Directly over his head. Here it is. Directly over the top. Martin not quite able to hang on.
He had a step on the defensive back, Aaron Curitan, the safety for West Virginia State. Todd Donnan did not have a 200-yard passing game over the first 3 contests of the season. He's over 220 yards now. That one would have put him near the 300-yard mark if Tim Martin had been able to pull it in.
Shotgun.
10. Sean Goodwin, too tall at the 40-yard line. Jerome Dean had the coverage for West Virginia State.
Sean Goodwin would have had to climb the ladder on that one.
West Virginia State is the first NAIA team to ever play at Marshall Stadium, where Marshall is 31-2 since the stadium opened in 1991. They'll get approximately $25,000 for playing in tonight's game, and we talked to Athletic Director Steve Rader of West Virginia State before tonight's game. They want to continue to play a 1AA school every year. They're set to sign a contract for the next 2 years to go up against Charleston Southern. They'll earn about $15,000 for each of those
Todd
games.
Donnan looking to
Trying to get away, isn't he?
pretty good coverage downfield.
Yeah, look who's got him, Sonny. It's that Greg Conwell again.
He's had a heck of a football game.
It really has. Transferred in from South Carolina State.
Tell you what, Todd Donnan had no way to go with that football. Now we'll see Colquitt.
Yeah, number 14 on the field, the punter for the Marshall Thundering Herd. Aaron Curitan, who has returned quite a few kickoffs tonight, will go back as a single safety.
Think they'll fake this one?
Colt,
I doubt it.
I doubt it, but you never know. Marshall has that set play that if those wide men are
But they're
not covered.
But they are covered now.
Yeah. Colquitt saw his average go down quite a bit last week at Georgia Southern, averaging just under 40 yards per punt.
Pretty good punt.
Curitan, no fair catch. And he paid for it.
He wishes he had.
Melvin Cunningham, Red Jacket, West Virginia, Mate 1 High School. Oh my, a little shaking and bacon.
Jason Grayson.
Jason Grayson, the junior from McKeesport, PA.
He and Cunningham make quite a pair back there.
Yeah, they do.
Oh my. When they're that close, you better signal for a fair catch. Curitan wishes he did.
Next week, Marshall will entertain UTC, and you'll see that game right here on the Thundering Herd Network. And we're anticipating a sold-out Marshall University
This
Stadium.
place will be rocking next Saturday night.
Marshall owes the Mocs one. The Mocs defeated Marshall last year at Chamberlain Field. Here's the handoff to Adams. Not much going on inside.
If you're West Virginia State, you just run out the clock and go to the house.
That was B.J. Cohen on the stop. It's been a half dominated by Marshall's defense and the passing ability of senior quarterback Todd Donnan. Tim Martin with 3 touchdown receptions here in the first half. Donnan with 5 touchdown passes overall in the first half. Marshall has all 3 of their timeouts, but I think Jim Donnan is going to be satisfied to let the clock just click down. We're down to 30 seconds to go in the first half. West Virginia State has 2 timeouts. They're facing a 2nd and 9 from their 11.
As long as West Virginia State runs the football, they'll let it run out.
And Adams has it.
There's a
Ball's
fumble.
loose. Is he down?
They pulled it down. They said he was down. The ground cannot cause a fumble.
And that's a big break for West Virginia State.
And that looks like all of it here in the first half, David.
Well, West Virginia State will head back to the facilities building to talk things over, trailing Marshall University 35-0. And we're going to have a word momentarily with the head coach of West Virginia State, Scott Tinsley. It's been a difficult first half. A half that the Thundering Herd has dominated. The last non-conference game of the year for Marshall. Let's head down to Mark and Scott Tinsley. Mark?
All right, thanks, Dave. Scott, thoughts on the first half? You knew it wouldn't be easy, but tell me your impressions of your football team first.
I think our defense is playing hard and playing very good at times. You know, we're just letting them stay on the field too long. Our young, inexperienced line's having a lot of trouble giving our quarterback any time at all to throw the football. We knew coming in we couldn't run it against them. We've got to figure out a way to block them at halftime.
You told me before the game that you wanted to take it quarter by quarter, so you got 2 more to play.
Right. You know, we're going to come out and try to get better. You know, we've said that all week in the paper that we're going to take each quarter and try to get better with it. And right now we're not playing very good, and we're making a lot of mental errors, and that's what's concerning me most of all is our kids just aren't playing with their heads. If we were getting beat physically, that'd be one thing, but we're getting beat physically and mentally as well.
All right, good luck in second half, Scott.
Thanks.
All right, Scott Tinsley, head coach of State. Let's go back upstairs.
All right, Mark, thanks a lot. And I think Scott Tinsley had a lot of good comments there. He can excuse the physical mistakes, but the mental mistakes will drive you crazy. Our halftime activities are next. Marshall leads West Virginia State here at Marshall University Stadium in Huntington, 35-0.
As we heard from West Virginia State head coach, the story, Todd Donnan with 5 touchdown passes in this first half of action. The first, an 8-yarder to Tim Martin, that coming at the 10:02 mark of the first quarter. He then came back and hit Sean Goodwin from 5 yards out. That was set up by a block punt there. And Todd grabbing a touchdown pass at the 13 mark of the second quarter, and then Todd Donnan to Tim Martin 2 other times in that second quarter. Marshall leading it here at the break by a score of 35-0 over the West Virginia State Yellow Jackets. We will be rejoining Dave Weekley and Sonny Randall a little bit later on, plus we'll get a word from Marshall head football coach Jim Donnan. All that and more coming your way here in Huntington at the break. It's the Thundering Herd of Marshall over the Yellow Jackets, 35-0.
35-0. The Yellow Jackets have returned to the field, and the Marshall Thundering Herd now making their way out of the facilities building. Our Mark Martin's going to have a word with the head coach of the Marshall Thundering Herd, Jim Donnan, in just a moment. And first half was all green and white. As we mentioned before we hand it off to Mark Martin, this is the last non-conference game of the year for the Thundering Herd. Beginning next week when they host UTC, they will step into Southern Conference play and remain in league action through the end of the regular season. And now we'll head downstairs where Mark's standing by with the head coach of the Herd. Go ahead, Mark.
All right, thanks a lot, David. Jim, your team up 35-0 here at the break. Just your impressions of the first half of action.
Our defense is controlling the game. You know, I think more than anything, execution is just that we're overmatching them, our defense against their offense. So their defense is pretty good. I said before the game they were better than Moorhead, and it's obvious. They've tackled Parker well, but they put themselves in some bad situations playing so much man coverage, and that's why we've thrown the ball. We're going to play some second and third team guys and just try to get out of it without anybody else hurt. We lost Roberts, another concussion, and so we just got to hope that we can, you know, just get this game over with. That's what we're going to try to do.
All right, Jim, thanks a lot. Jim Donnan, the Herd head coach, his team up by 35. Back to Dave and Sonny.
All right, thank you, Mark, and as always, a great job there at halftime. Scott Tinsley along the way, and he seems he's got that 1,000-yard stare. This game can't be over soon enough for him.
Got that electric chair look.
Yes. Let's go ahead and take a look at first half highlights. A half in which the Herd passing attack dominated. Tim Martin, the first of his 3 touchdown receptions.
Todd Donnan throws it. Tim Martin catches it. Heck of a catch down in the back part of the end zone.
Martin had 10 catches for 128 yards and 3 TDs, but How about that big play by Greg Conwell?
Conwell picks one off from Todd Donnan. Todd Donnan makes the stop, or helps to make the stop.
You know, Sean Goodwin, the senior from Sussex, Virginia, had 2 touchdowns last week, and he picks off one in the end zone for another score.
Off the boot. Sean Goodwin is wide open in the end zone. Todd Donnan finds him.
There and Todd's another Marshall receiver with a lot of talent. He'll catch a touchdown of his own.
Bide a little time. Todd Donnan does. He threads the needle here.
Another look at a hookup between Donnan and Martin for Todd. 19 and 27, 5 TDs, 241 yards in the first half.
This is a great throw and one heck of a catch directly over top.
And as if Tim Martin hadn't already done enough, here's a look at his 3rd touchdown reception of the first half.
Fake to his back. Stop pattern. Martin gets the ball behind the line of scrimmage. That great speed quick as he just waltzes in.
And if you're thinking about record territory for Tim Martin, we'll talk about that after we examine the halftime stats. And whoa, minus 7 yards rushing for West Virginia State. Marshall dominating in every aspect with the exception of turnovers. West Virginia State has not turned over the ball tonight. Total yards, though, look at the herd. On pace for a 500-yard night and just 50 total yards at the break for West Virginia Tech. We're set to start the 3rd quarter. Tim Openlander with the kick. And on the return for State is Andre Session. And Session takes it out to the 29-yard line. Not a bad return, and West Virginia State will start their 1st and 10. Tim Martin with 10 catches in the first half. A Marshall record is 14 catches in a game by Mike Barber against Western Carolina back in 1987. And most touchdown catches in a game, Martin has 3 thus far. The record is 4 by Robert Surratt versus Appalachian back in 1984.
And they indicated we see some of the 2nd and 3rd teamers.
Yep. But that first-team offensive unit still out there for West Virginia State.
In the jumbo look.
Juan Carminati with a handoff. Vidal Adams takes it down to the 32-yard line. That's a gain of 2. It's 2nd down and 8.
And David, as I mentioned at halftime, if West Virginia State does not throw the football, Marshall's not going to blitz.
You know, Carminati, how he made it from Braddock High School in Miami to West Virginia State's a pretty interesting story. He didn't even start in high school. He played behind Wilkie Perez, who's a freshman quarterback at West Virginia University now. But he looks pretty experienced out there. Plays a lot of solid football for West Virginia State.
That's bad news right there for the Yellow Jackets. Vidal Adams, their outstanding running back, limps to the sideline.
Adams is out of the lineup.
That's their workhorse. Without him, they'll have to go throwing the football.
Another member of the Adams family, though still out there, his brother Ted, a transfer from Howard, is in there on the offensive line.
That's Andre Session.
Yeah, Session with the carry. Adams' brother, Ted Adams, is number 62 in the midst of the offensive line. So it's 3rd down and 7. Marshall took the opening kickoff in tonight's game, drove the length of the field for a touchdown, and really the green and white has never looked back.
Nickel package for Marshall.
Yeah, Jason Grayson checks into the lineup for the Thundering Herd along with Tim Floyd.
Bring in the extra defensive back, take out a linebacker.
Nate Clark is split out wide to the right. And Carminati will go from the shotgun on 3rd and long.
Here comes the blitz.
Yeah, Scott Smythe from Buchanan right up there, and it is a safety blitz. Pass is complete to John Smith.
It'll be short of the 1st down. West Virginia State will be forced to punt it away.
Jason Grayson makes the stop down to the sidelines, and our Mark Martin. What's up, Mark?
All right, thanks a lot, Dave. I'm joined by the interim athletic director at West Virginia State College, Dr. Stephen Rader. This has been a great opportunity for your athletic program this week.
It really is. And, you know, when we scheduled the game back in January, people thought we were crazy because we're coming off a 1-9 season, and we're fortunate to come up to a 3-0 start, and so people were interested in our program this year. And the publicity we've got this week has just been incredible, and it's just nothing but help our program.
Tell me about Scott Tinsley, great young head coach.
He really is a bright young head coach. I mean, I think people were a little critical last year because we had a 1-9, but all the pieces weren't there. You know, you can see what we do when we have a quarterback. Well, maybe not. Maybe not tonight because Marshall's awfully good, but first 3 games this year, having a true quarterback in there really made a difference.
West Virginia State College has competed for many years at the NAIA level, but getting set, as other schools in the West Virginia Conference are, to move to Division II of NCAA.
That's really going to be a challenge for us because the established Division II schools, Division II membership isn't based on enrollment, and you have schools that have 30,000 students who are in Division II, and they can generate a lot more money than we can. So it'll be a real challenge for us, but we'll see what we can do.
Great having you here. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, let's go back to Dave and Sonny.
Thanks, Mark. And as we anticipated, Todd Donnan done for the night, and now the heralded redshirt freshman Larry Harris from Lithonia, Georgia, steps under center for the Marshall Thundering Herd on Marshall's first possession of the second half. Backs are split this time for Harris on first down. And here comes Bump. Chris Gross has a lot of room, and he's got a first down. Gross on his first carry takes it up to the 28.
Normally you don't see that big fullback Chris Gross bounce up in there like he did, or bump up in there. Little delayed draw to the fullback. Chris Gross shows that outstanding open field ability.
Big Corey Smith, offensive lineman, didn't have anybody to hit. He was just looking to get into some action. But Chris Gross, a fan favorite, senior from Beckley Woodrow Wilson High School, waited patiently till his senior year to play. He had to sit while Glenn Pedro helped the Marshall offense into 1AA national championship games. Larry Harris set to pass.
Double screen.
And Javon Darling's got it. He's across the 30 and up to the 31-yard line. The play was defensed well that time, though, by West Virginia State. Jerome Dean and Big 77. That's Mike Gray getting over there.
Here it is. Pretty good blocking. There you see Harris double screen. Gets it back to Javon Darling. There's the big man, Adams.
Whoa.
Can't make the stop.
That
As I say, you don't want to be on the bottom of him.
Second down and 7. That's a gain of 3. Marshall 35, West Virginia State nothing.
He will let the air out. One back set. And West Virginia showing blitz.
And I'm not sure.
I think they moved up front.
Yeah, I think you might
like
be
the
right.
Green jerseys moved. West Virginia State showing blitz. Offensively, the Herd moved. Here it is. Oh, yes.
Yeah, you called it. Corey Smith.
I have a dead ball. False start on the offense. Second down.
So they'll replay second down. It'll be second down and 13 for the Herd. Dave Honick and Greg Hairston on the left side. Cyrus in there at center.
Two deep zone. One back set, and Harris sprints to the near side.
Sends it down the field. The pass is nearly intercepted at the Marshall 37-yard line. Jeff Tunstall.
Tunstall went awfully high to almost pick it off.
And Tunstall's got a real nose for the football. He intercepted a pass last week against Cheney State and took it back 30 yards for a score.
Harris on the sprint, looking downfield. Tunstall comes up with a heck of a play.
And so for the young redshirt freshman quarterback Larry Harris, he'll face third and long, 3rd and a dozen from the 26-yard line. And now we see West Virginia State going to 5 defensive backs. Donald Cunningham from Capitol High. The redshirt freshman is split out wide to the left. Marshall going with 4 wide receivers. Flag is down. The pass intended for Brian Reed, incomplete. Jeff Tunstall had the coverage.
Harris was getting some heat.
Motion, the penalty. John Valentine had the heat on Harris.
On the offense, decline, 4th down.
So for Harris and the Herd offense, it's back to the sidelines. Colquitt is on to attempt the kick. One thing about the second half of this game, Sonny, Mickey Matthews and the defensive guys in the green and white, they don't want to give up their shutout. They want to keep that big goose egg up on the board.
Colquitt, let's see if he can get it out of there. For Marshall.
And Jerome Dean is back to receive the punt. First time we've seen him as a
Oh,
safety.
yes, sir.
What a
He got all of
boomer.
this one. He got all of it.
Look at this.
Got all of it.
All the way back to the 7. Dean knocked out of bounds at the 15-yard line. It's an 8-yard return.
What a punt.
What a kick. 10:21 to go, third quarter. Marshall 35, West Virginia State nothing. Bomb.
Colquitt got all of it, didn't he? Knocked it out of sight. That brought some rain.
Meanwhile, back to live action. Not much happening for West Virginia State. Uri Hill, and not much running room for the running back, Andre Session of West Virginia State.
Will Edwards there for Marshall.
You know, for Travis Colquitt, punting just runs in the blood. His uncle Craig kicked for the Steelers. His cousin Jimmy kicked for the Seattle. And Steve, his dad, kicked for Dallas. So if he gets to the NFL, he'll just be following in a family tradition.
West Virginia State had just 10 out there. Now they got 11. And here comes some heat.
Caminante, the pass is complete to the 20-yard line. Townsend able to hold on to the ball. Despite
Townsend, that was a heck of a catch.
It was, because Kalen Jackson was right on him.
Jackson had great cover for Marshall. Here it is. Little heat. Jay Townsend does a heck of a job to hang on there. Third about 6.
Caminante with only 67 yards passing, but he takes care of the football. No fumbles and no interceptions
Pick
tonight.
up the blitz.
They're coming after him. Picked off. There it is.
That's 6.
On his way
That
for a
is
touchdown. Tim Floyd.
Tim Floyd ran the ball all the way. Here it is. Caminante. Juan Caminante sets his feet. I'll tell you what, you don't draw it up any better. Tim Floyd was right there to run it back.
Converted running back from Montgomery, West Virginia, takes it in.
Looked like a running back there.
So Openlander is on to attempt the extra point.
And
it's blocked, and that is the first miss in the Marshall career for Tim Openlander. Nevertheless, the Herd leads it 41-0. 8:49 to go in the third. Tim Floyd with a big interception return for a green and white touchdown. Moments after, I was praising Juan Caminante for not turning the ball over. He throws the football right to Tim Floyd, and the Montgomery, West Virginia native runs it in for an interception return touchdown.
I don't think he saw the linebacker.
I don't think so.
Do not think he saw Floyd. That underneath coverage, boy, I'll tell you one thing, they'll kill you.
Andre Session set to receive the kick from Tim Openlander from the goal line. Trying to get wide. Brings it out to the 23. That's a 22-yard kickoff return.
East to west. When you run it east to west, Mike Linkus makes a stop for the Herd.
Session, a junior from El Paso, Texas. And he will stay in there with the offensive unit of West Virginia State. Let's head down to the sidelines. What's up, Mark?
All right, Dave, a lot of people might be saying Tim who with that interception? Tim Floyd, a walk-on football player, and he read that beautifully. And you think about it, there's a guy who was a quarterback during his high school career, transferred from Valley High to DuPont High, and a year ago led the Panthers to their second straight state AAA championship, and looks like he's going to be a pretty good college football player before it's all said and done.
All right, thanks, Mark. And that DuPont high school team going for their third consecutive Class AAA state championship. They got a pretty nice quarterback. Keith Fout trying to get things done for Dick Whitman down in Bell.
That's big Larry McLeod there. McLeod got excellent penetration.
I'll talk about players with great West Virginia high school credentials. How about Larry McLeod?
Let him get his game legs and see what happens.
Led Buffalo Wayne to a Class AA championship in the state of West Virginia. Second down and 11.
Two deep zone Marshall's playing.
Caminante with the play action.
Got some time. Still got some time.
Guns the football. Intercepted. No, incomplete.
Looked like it was picked off.
Scott Smythe had the ball, and I believe Townsend was able to wrestle it away. Incomplete.
Caminati kind of double clutched it. Here's a double clutch. Looking to pump. Now he reloads. Thought sure it was picked off. It was for a split second.
Yeah, Vance was able to wrestle the ball away.
Scott Smythe thought he had one.
Another West Virginia native from Buchanan Upshur High School. 3rd and long. 7:49 to go. Third quarter. Marshall leads it 41-0.
Comes a little heat.
Caught. The pass is caught. That's Nate Clark. And once again, Sonny, just like we saw in the first half on a long gainer for West Virginia State, the defensive back for the Herd went for the interception, missed the ball, and it turned into a big gainer.
Thomas Maxwell thought he had dead to rights on the football. And the ball sails over Maxwell's hand. Over his head, Nate Clark comes up with a reception.
So that's a 25-yard gainer for West Virginia State out to their own 47. And they haven't been in Marshall territory in quite a while, and they're nearing midfield. From the shotgun.
Here comes some heat.
How about that one-on-one tackle made by Jason Grayson? John Smith had nowhere to go after he caught the pass from Carminati.
Jason Grayson from the secondary makes an open field tackle. That's quite a feat.
John Smith, another of those West Virginia State freshmen from Chicago, De La Salle High School.
Smith catches the ball, and Jason Grayson catches up with Smith.
Full house backfield on 2nd down and 8. State at their own 49.
Checking.
Session into Marshall territory to the 49-yard line. That's a gain of 2. It'll be 3rd down and about 7.
Not a whole lot there.
Quite a few West Virginia Conference teams stepping up to play 1AA teams this year. Later this season, Glenville will travel to Georgia Southern. Earlier this year, West Virginia Tech played at Indiana State. Concord will play Liberty. And, of course, tonight's game, West Virginia State taking on Marshall.
Concord's already played Liberty. I wish they didn't. I wish they hadn't. Here comes a blitz. From the gun.
3rd and 6.
There's some heat.
Threw it out of bounds, and that was a wise decision.
I'll tell you what, that was a heck of a catch.
Vance was the intended receiver, so to speak.
Wingback made a heck of a catch, laying out over on the sidelines, but as you indicated, David, he was well out of bounds. Here it is. Caminati, a little one-hopper.
Watch out for Terrence Worth at 91.
He picks it up pretty well. That one-hopper off the turf. Caminati throws it up. Chuck Vance, look at him lay out here. Heck of a catch.
Vance will stay in the game to punt. And they want no part of the Marshall return team. That's going to be an extremely short punt. The line of scrimmage was the Marshall 49, and that ball sailed out of bounds at the 36. That's a 13-yard punt.
Yikes.
Marshall's got the football when we return. Nothing lead. Marshall's got the football at their own 36-yard line. Larry Harris subbing for Todd Donnan here in the second half. Hands off to Javon Darling. Breaking tackles.
Fumble.
Ball is loose.
Recovered
by West Virginia State. Jeff Tunstall. The ball popped right out of the arms of Javon Darling. Tunstall, Johnny on the spot, makes the recovery. West Virginia State's got it at the Marshall 30.
I was just getting ready to say, David, in the right place at the right time. Here it is. Darling looking for that extra yards. Looking for those extra yards. Here's the ball popped out of there. That was a heck of a play there.
And this would be a big morale boost if West Virginia State could convert this into some points.
Showing blitz.
Fumble.
Ball's on the ground.
Carminati, the freshman quarterback from Miami, wanted to run with it before he got it, took his eyes off the ball, and it was on the turf momentarily. And milliseconds after he was on it, B.J. Cohen was on top of him.
Looked like a double dribble there.
And if you're thinking about a possible field goal, would you believe that West Virginia State in their 4th game of the year has not attempted a field goal?
They got a barefooted kicker.
John Goldsberg.
Here comes the blitz.
Yeah, they're loading up, aren't they? 2nd and 14.
Almost over his head.
Snap again.
Look out.
Worthen cleaned him out.
Picked off.
Intercepted. That's Jason Grayson, the junior from McKeesport.
Look out.
Looking for help.
Look out.
And I'm telling you what, if he's not dragged down from behind by Chuck Vance, he's going a long way.
So the defense comes up again big for Marshall. Jason Grayson. Did look like he had some room. Here it is. It was one of those ollie in free. Jason Grayson comes right in front of Jay Townsend to take the ball away from him. Now Grayson is off to the races. Gets a couple of excellent blocks.
Boy, he almost got out of there. 2nd interception of the year for Jason Grayson.
One back set, and here comes the toss sweep.
Thomas wants to get the corner.
Got the corner.
Taken down at the 36-yard line. That's a gain of nearly 5 for the junior from Largo, Maryland. So Grayson now has 2 interceptions. Shannon Morrison had 2 interceptions. Got them both last week at Georgia Southern. And Vince Parker also has 2 interceptions this year for Marshall.
Normally when you get those second liners out there.
Check that. Shannon Morrison has three interceptions, and that's tops in the Southern Conference.
Mickey Matthews, a good shot of him, getting straight with the defense. As I mentioned, I wanted to talk about, David, those second teamers. They'd like to show the coaching staff they belong on the first unit.
Yeah. 2nd down and 5, 36-yard line.
Here comes a blitz.
Harris, elusive.
Looking to throw.
Looking
to throw. Still looking.
Trying to set up his blocks. And I think he ran about, 30 yards for a 1-yard gain. Larry Harris.
You can see his great speed and quickness. Excellent coverage in West Virginia State's secondary. West Virginia State's got a player down. Little fake there. Harris is flushed. And you knew he was going to pull it down.
There is an injured player. There's an injured player for West Virginia State right in front of the Marshall bench.
I believe it was Greg Conwell. That's who made the play over there.
And that's unfortunate because Conwell has really had a terrific night. West Virginia State may be trailing 41-0 on the scoreboard, but he's got an interception and a sack.
That's who it is.
And has at least 1 tackle for a loss tonight.
You can see Scott Tinsley is awfully concerned, and he should be. Medical staff at West Virginia State. I believe he's all right.
You know, he may have had just the wind knocked out of him. Yeah, Sonny, he was in hot pursuit of Harris in front of the Marshall bench and went diving. And he's going to need a little help.
Here it is. Thought that Greg Conwell was the guy over here. There you see him, 43. Making the stop. Yeah, he just hit the ground a little bit hard. Or the turf. Might have knocked the wind out of it, but he's needing help to get off.
Let's look at the Yellow Jacket fans across the way at about the 15-yard line. They supported their team very well tonight. About 500 tickets for this game were sold through the West Virginia State ticket office, and we don't know how many more state fans just managed to matriculate their way down to Huntington for tonight's game. And we don't have an official attendance figure yet.
Good to see Greg Conwell up. Being helped off, but at least he's up.
3rd down conversions. You know, look at that stat. What a problem it's been for West Virginia State. And Marshall has not converted a third down tonight, and they lead 41-0.
Shotgun.
Harris on 3rd and 8. Pass is complete to Reed. He's really close to a first down up at the 42-yard line. It's going to be close enough to measure, I believe.
Reed was upset that he had to lay out and catch a football. He wanted to catch that one on the run.
Yeah, he had a lot of room.
Byron Reed. They want to measure, just as you indicated, David.
Reed, a sophomore from Bradenton, Florida. One of the many young receivers on this team that have stepped up in the absence of the injured Ricky Carter to do the job for Marshall.
Reed's probably telling Harris, if you hit me on the dead run, I'd still be running.
Still be going.
Take a look. Yes, sir.
It's a first down. Marshall's been the top team in the NCAA 1AA poll since the preseason, and the Herd got 65 of 73 first place votes this week. The only other Southern Conference team in the poll is number 14 Western Carolina. First and 10 from the 41.
One back set for the Herd. Lee Harris is checking. That he is. Going downtown with it.
Sends it for Donald Cunningham. He's got it. Donald Cunningham. His second catch of his Marshall career. And it's a big gainer for the redshirt freshman from Capitol High in Charleston.
That was a great throw by Larry Harris. Sets his feet. He had checked at the line of scrimmage. Running underneath of the football.
That's a 30-yard gainer for Donald Cunningham. And there are quite a few Capital players on the West Virginia State lineup tonight, so he may be going up against some of his old teammates.
Cunningham just ran a fade down the sideline. Harris is on the money.
He's got terrific speed, one of the fastest members of this team. And Javon Darling, who fumbled on his last carry, gets his nose up in there to the 29-yard line, a gain of 5. This will be Marshall's last game in the month of November, and it's a month where they've really dominated in the Jim Donnan era. Marshall coming into action tonight, 15-1 in September, with a dozen straight wins in the month. Haven't lost a game in September since October 22nd back in 1990 to the Citadel.
One back set.
Who's back there? Eric Thomas, the lone setback.
Checking again.
Thomas gets it.
Finds a little seam.
No, Sonny, you can appreciate this as a former All-Pro. He really read his blocks well there and squeezed out as many yards as he could get.
Found the seam. That's all those backs look for. Get behind those big people. Eric Thomas. He's going to be a good one. This is youth night. There's most of them right there.
Yeah. Young fans got into the park tonight for $5 a crack. That's a good deal. Good chance to get a chance to see some excellent college football. Third and less than a yard now. Thomas noses in there. He's got it.
Down.
Takes it down near the 17-yard line for a Marshall first down. Budweiser scoreboard. William and Mary beats a team from the Southern Conference for the second time. How about that?
The Huskies.
And the winning streak for the Canes is over. Huskies all over Miami.
Look at this ball game. Biggest game of the weekend.
Yeah. Colorado wins at Michigan. So how about that? How often do you see Miami and Michigan lose in consecutive in-home games? Larry Harris on the carry. Diving.
That was just a quarterback keep. I think he was keeping that the whole way. Just a quarterback sprint. Keeping the football. Larry Harris likes to run with the football.
Brian Nichols checks in at a tight end spot. Everybody's getting in there tonight. Freshman from Knoxville, Tennessee. And he is lined up tight on the left side. 2nd and 7 from the 15.
Here comes the blitz.
And here comes Eric Thomas.
There he goes.
Touchdown. Marshall Thundering Herd Thomas in the end zone for the score.
Great call against the blitz, because once you break the line of scrimmage, there's nobody there.
And for Eric Thomas, his second touchdown of the season, it covers 15
Here it is.
yards.
They get a big seal down inside. Once he breaks the line of scrimmage, it's nobody. Nobody's close. John Valentine, the closest. You can tell Eric Thomas likes it. Who wouldn't like it with a run like that?
Eric Thomas for the 15-yard touchdown run. Tim Openlander, who had his last point after attempt blocked, shoots it through.
Yes.
So Marshall's lead is now 48-0 on West Virginia State. Another look at the touchdown.
It's all Eric Thomas, but he got a great seal down inside by that fine Marshall offensive line. Thomas does the rest, a little high stepping in the end zone. Eric Thomas. He's going to be a good one.
One of the backs in a very, very deep stable of runners for Jim Donnan. 48-0, just 10 seconds left in the third quarter.
Scott Tinsley doesn't have a whole lot of friends over there right now. I tell you what, it's amazing, and I know very well because I've been there before, but the bigger the score gets, the further they get away from you.
Down to the sidelines. What's up, Mark?
Well, David, just checked in with the West Virginia State medical staff. The story on Greg Conwell is that he had severe cramps in his legs. This is a big loss for this state football team. He is walking around, though, on the sidelines. Not sure, though, right now whether he will be back or not. But this is a guy that Scott Tinsley calls perhaps maybe one of the best athletes on the team. He was listed in the preseason media guide as a defensive back and tailback, but has kind of found a home there at defensive end.
Yeah, very, very active. What we mentioned, he's already got a sack and a interception and a big tackle for a loss tonight. Hopefully he'll be able to pull it together and get back on the field next week in what will be, frankly, a much more important game against Glenville.
They better save him for Glenville State.
Openlander with the kick. Session from the 6.
Little double dribble.
Bobbled it momentarily.
Face mask.
Face mask penalty upcoming against Marshall. It appeared as if Kalen Jackson got Session by the face mask.
Thomas was in over on the stop.
We've come to the end of the third quarter. We'll check out the penalty when we return to Huntington. 3 quarters of action in the books. Marshall University 48, West Virginia State nothing. Along with Mark Martin and Sonny Randall, Dave Weekley in Marshall University Stadium in Huntington. A 15-yard face guard penalty assessed against the Thundering Herd on the run back. So West Virginia State has good field position as they begin the final period from the 44-yard line.
Travis Phelps.
Phelps, we saw him early in the game as the punter, now is in there at quarterback. He took some snaps in the first half when Carminati was knocked from the game briefly. Session into Marshall territory, and he's dragged down from behind by Uri Hill.
Andre Session on the carry.
Uri Hill makes a heck of a stop there.
Session hit the line rather quickly, didn't he? Official attendance tonight here at Marshall University Stadium, 20,037. 20,037 on hand to witness this battle between West Virginia State and Marshall.
And you know, if we hadn't had the rain, David, we might have had 23 or 24,000.
Yeah, I think that's right. We're anticipating a sellout for Marshall's Southern Conference home opener next week against UTC. Marshall stepped into league play last week with a big win at Georgia Southern. Full house backfield on second down and less than a yard. Phelps. A very slow developing play.
They're going to lose yardage here.
The handoff went to John Smith.
Smith stopped by Cohen.
Ryan Lipscomb on the stop.
And he got some help from Ryan Lipscomb.
Loss of 3.
So on second down and a yard, West Virginia State loses 3. It'll be third down and 4. And so Marshall rolling the dice, thinking that State will throw here. Well, they'll go with their nickel package.
Bring that extra defensive back into the game. A little more speed and quickness.
Townsend splits out wide to the right. Nate Clark is a flanker.
He doesn't like this, but you got to call timeout.
Yeah, you're right. So West Virginia State will burn a timeout. They have 2 timeouts remaining. Marshall still with all 3 of their timeouts. 13:26 to go in the ball game. State mulling over a third down situation. Will return to Huntington. Marshall leads West Virginia State, but State would love to get on the scoreboard if they can, facing a 3rd down and 3 from the Marshall 48-yard line.
And here
Phelps.
comes some heat.
Oh, brother, here they come. He got it away.
Picked off, almost.
Hey, Tim Floyd
Almost got another one.
He sure did. He surely did.
Phelps was throwing for his life.
Hey, this defensive stuff is easy for Floyd, huh?
Scott Smythe, he was all over him. Floyd was just waiting to pick off another one.
He likes that defense when you throw the ball right to him.
Who doesn't?
The Phelps defense. The snap in the shotgun was kind of a wounded duck, and
he was signaling for a fair catch.
Yeah, jerseys were after him. The guys in the green were after him in a hurry.
Marshall got the return on, but nobody deep.
Here's the kick by Vance, going for the coffin corner.
Not a bad
Theron Todd has it. Can he get through there? Oh, he is smacked to the turf at the 27-yard line.
Al Dean,
Yeah,
West Virginia State's 5 middle linebacker.
Leading tackler. And we'd like to take a moment to thank Stewart's Hot Dog of Huntington for today's crew meal. Stewart's, serving the Huntington area since 1932, owned and operated by 4 generations of the Mann family. We really like talking about them every week, Sonny.
Yes, sir.
They provide the crew meal, and
they put those extra goodies in there. I'm going to join the crew next week.
yeah, I know. We really don't get to share like into those things the way the crew does. We got to get our agent to check into that. That's not fair. Okay, Marshall's got the ball, 1st and 10 from their own 27. Donald Cunningham in motion for the Thundering Herd. Fake it to Darling. And Harris is elusive, but he can't get away from that.
I'll tell you what, Eddie McCrary, he just came untouched.
Senior from Sarasota.
Eddie McCrary, there he is. 4-yard loss. Harris could just do nothing but duck.
If you joined us late, Marshall has dominated from the opening kickoff. First half, Todd Donnan with 5 touchdown passes, 3 of them to Tim Martin. It was 35-0 at halftime. It's now 48-0.
Quarterback draw.
Harris, boy is he elusive, across the 30 and up to the 32-yard line. That's a gain of 8 for Larry Harris.
Loves to call his own number.
Harris would love to direct a scoring drive here. Marshall has scored in 15 consecutive quarters.
Quarterback draw. And with the great speed and quickness that Harris possesses, he's a weapon on the quarterback draw.
3rd down and 6.
When Todd Donnan leaves after his senior year, this will be the main man for the Herd.
Here's Harris.
Nowhere to go. Nowhere to go.
And again, it's McCrary.
Eddie McCrary comes untouched.
So here comes Colquitt. He'll punt the football.
He'll be looking for another one of those 60-yarders.
Make no mistake about it, West Virginia State has got some players on this squad that could play 1AA football.
They just don't have enough of them.
Exactly. That's what Scott Tinsley said this week. They just don't have enough. We've seen some talented players from this West Virginia State squad. Here's Colquitt. Punting
Got another
with
one.
The win, and boy, it's a boom.
Got another one.
Dean at the 25. He's stood straight up, but not before he reaches the 47-yard line. Big-time hit, Javon Darling. 10:42 to go in the game. West Virginia State's got the football in good field position, but they're still unable to get on the scoreboard. It's 48-0.
See if West Virginia State puts it up.
Will Patterson from South Charleston High splits out wide to the left this time. And to the other side, Frankie Walker, another South Charleston product. Phelps with a handoff inside. And carrying tacklers down to the 40-yard line for West Virginia State. It's Farrell.
Mike Farrell on a quick hitter. Here it is. Just a quick hitter to the fullback. You can see he breaks clean.
Erie Hill and B.J. Cohen had to ride him down. And West Virginia State has had some slow developing plays tonight that haven't worked, but that was a quick hitter that did. 1st and 10, West Virginia State at the Marshall 41. 9:30 to go in the game. Not much running room. Nowhere to go. B.J. Cohen able to trip up Andre Session for a loss.
Jermaine Swafford also there to help on the stop. Andre Session had nowhere to go. Coach Tinsley blows a few bubbles across the way.
It looks said it all, didn't it? You know, while he was at Appalachian State as a player and a coach, he was 5-3 with the Mountaineers against the Marshall Thundering Herd, but he's on the other side of it tonight. 2nd and a dozen.
That quick hitter again.
Tried to slip it through there again to Farrell, but Ryan Lipscomb tripped him up.
They shut it down this time.
We've seen plenty of touchdowns tonight, but you know, back in 1958 when these two teams met, that was the closest previous meeting. Only one touchdown in that game. Quarterback Bob Wagner scored for Marshall. Herb Royer was the coach of the Herd back in those days. They played the game in a driving rainstorm at Lately. Marshall won it 9-0. 3rd and long, 3rd and 10. Full house backfield for State.
Look at the throw.
Phelps.
Oh.
Threw it behind his intended receiver, Andre Session.
That one had no chance.
Despite the fact they're at the Marshall 40-yard line, the West Virginia State punt team is going to come onto the field.
Well, maybe they might go for it there.
I thought they might too. Well, you never know. I mean, they could run a fake punt. We've seen some unique plays tonight from West Virginia State out of the shotgun formation. They hiked the ball directly to the tailback, Vidal Adams, 3 times tonight.
I'm betting they punt this one. Knuckler out of bounds. Just didn't get a whole lot of distance either.
Sonny, that is going to be another 12-yard punt. 12 yards on the punt. 7:50 to go in the game. Marshall's got the ball, trying to protect their shutout, leading West Virginia State 48-0. And we've got a change at quarterback. Brian Day, the 3rd-string quarterback for Marshall, in the game. And you can see the Herd with a big edge in total yards. Here's the handoff to Mark Wicks. And he hits the hole in a hurry. Still on his feet. Tripped up at the 40.
If he just kept his feet, he looked like he could have spun out and gone the distance.
Arnett Hostin tripped him up.
There you see some fresh legs. Hand back to Wicks. Mark Wicks breaks the line of scrimmage. Watch the cutback here. If he could just stayed on his feet there, he'd have been off to the races.
Brian Day, freshman from Clifton, Virginia. Play action. Day.
Oh.
Kind of an odd-looking pass there, wouldn't you say, Sonny?
You're being kind.
Day's first attempt as a duck, incomplete.
Day's a little bit off balance.
Trying to get it to his tight end, Ryan Nichols. Incomplete, 2nd and 10. Well, Marshall's well on their way to winning this game. They'll move to 4-0, and it'll be the first time since 1988 that they've come 4-0 out of the gate. And that's a good omen because back in 88, Marshall started the season 8-0 en route to going to the NCAA 1AA title game. And what a shootout they had, coming out on the short end of a shootout with Northeast Louisiana that year.
Little blitz here by West Virginia State. They show blitz.
Here's the handoff to Orlandis Gary. Look at this.
Oh, my.
Orlandis Gary bowling over people all the way down to the West Virginia State 33-yard line.
There you see some fresh legs. That was quite a run by Orlando Gary. Look at those fresh legs. A little counter action like the counter tray. Pull a couple of people, get them out front, those big linemen. Gary's into the secondary.
24 yards on the gainer.
high stepping. Looking to take on somebody.
The freshman from Washington, D.C. It's a first down to the 33-yard line. Gary again. Oh, stopped in the backfield.
Eddie McCary. They had to make the stop.
Carey's had quite a few good defensive plays here in the second half.
Well, those Gary said it didn't look like the same play.
That's a loss of 4, second down at 14. Clock running down to the 6-minute mark. Marshall 48, West Virginia State nothing. West Virginia State will suffer their first loss of the campaign. They'll drop to 3-1. They'll head to Glenville next week. Marshall will be at home hosting UTC. Day from the shotgun. Sends it long for Theron Todd.
Oh, that'll be a face mask. That was the only thing the West Virginia State defender could do. Saved a touchdown.
Theron Todd took one right in the throat.
Right in the chops. That saved 6.
That's 15 yards against West Virginia State, and it will be a Thundering Herd first down.
Here, we'll get another look.
We got pass interference on the defense, 15 yards, first down.
Tell you what, Brian Day got some air under the ball. Theron Todd was wide open. He got a hog tied over there.
He did. So the line of scrimmage for Marshall is now the West Virginia State 22-yard line. 5.5 minutes to go.
They heard looking for more.
Boy, Day's got a lot of room if he wants to run, but he attempts to throw it instead. That was a very tough throw, Sonny, for a left-handed quarterback rolling to the right.
You're exactly right, David. Normally it's the right-hander running to his left.
Tried to get it to Jermaine Wiggins. Let me ask you, Sonny, as a former NFL All-Pro wide receiver, what's the difference between catching a football from a left-hander or a right-hander? Is there a difference?
Yeah, it's a different spin. In other words, in spinning one, it's like catching a punt from a left-handed punter. Different spin on the ball, it looks different to you.
That goes as an incomplete pass, second down and 10.
But when you look at him, you don't care which way it's spinning.
That's right.
Fumble.
Ball's loose.
Ollie in free, a jailbreak. See that? West Virginia State says they have the football.
And they do.
That's what the officials say.
And that's Al Dean in there, the sophomore from Capitol High, coming up with the fumble recovery, and the Marshall drive is thwarted.
Not sure what happened on the exchange there.
You know, I think at this point of the game, both coaches would just be happy to get it over.
I believe the quarterback just came out a little quick. Brian Day. John Wade was in at center.
Yeah, that's the third center we've seen tonight. Cyrus started. Then we saw Lanzo, and now Wade is in there.
Wade's going to be a good one. Just a redshirt freshman. 6'6", 280. There's that dive again.
The handoff right up the middle. Jermaine Swafford and Larry McLeod are there to put the hit on Mike Farrell.
Trying to hit Farrell on that quick hitter.
You know, Scott Tinsley had a very astute comment about this game before it took place tonight. He said that no matter what happens the rest of the season, a lot of people are going to get their perception of West Virginia State from what happens in this game. I thought that was pretty perceptive. They're going to have to try and bounce back. I think they anticipated that they would be overwhelmed tonight, but they have performed admirably out there. There's Farrell again.
I think the defense has played extremely well today. I really do. Offensively, they've sputtered a bit, but a whole lot of folks have sputtered against this Marshall defense.
But it was awfully tough for West Virginia State to come into this game tonight, Sonny, and think that they were going to be able to throw the ball effectively. Marshall's pass rush just took them right out of their game plan.
West Virginia State in that power look.
3rd and 6.
Jumbo shed.
Cohen had a hand on him, and Uri Hill finished him off.
Phelps on the carry.
Ryan Lipscomb also there. Phelps had nowhere to go. Here they come. They just opened the gates. Larry Harvey, he was the first one to make penetration.
Yeah, well, first time we called Larry Harvey's name, and Phelps was running for his life. I don't know how he got out of there. And he may be stinging just a bit. Olandis Gary gets on the field late.
Marshall just a man short.
There's the kick. Wicks will take it at the 46. He's got a lane down the sideline, still on his feet. Can't escape to the 41-yard line at West Virginia State. Many of the fans have made their way to the exits tonight. Good crowd, considering the matchup, a non-Southern Conference League game. 20,000 made their way to the stadium, and the skies really opened up. We had a lot of heavy rain here in the Huntington area about an hour before kickoff.
I'll tell you what, that was another frog strangler we had tonight. We thought we had one at Georgia Southern.
Oh.
We got another one here this evening.
Well, it rained hard tonight, but it was nothing like the rain we saw before the Georgia Southern game last week in Statesboro. We got movement in that offensive line. Someone moved on the left side. No, we got
West Virginia called timeout. West Virginia State did. Make sure we put State on the end of that. I was over in Blacksburg the other evening, David, along with you.
Oh, yeah, we haven't talked about that tonight.
Well, Coach Nealon didn't want us to talk about it.
Yeah, we got, I caught up with you down on the field in Blacksburg at Lane Stadium, where West Virginia met Virginia Tech, a game the Hokies won 34-6. And maybe a little bit of a changing of the guard as far as the power in the Big East Conference is concerned. West Virginia now 0-2 in the Big East, not really looking good. Their chances of defending as league champs are kind of going by the wayside. Virginia Tech looked very, very strong. At least they did defensively the other night.
I'll tell you what, they got a great defense. Phil Almation, their defensive coordinator, has done an unbelievable job with that defense. He really has, and that's what's carrying them right now. Maurice DeShazo, their fine quarterback, I don't think was 100% the other night. But the defense turned the tables on the ears.
Kind of a surprise for a Big East team. Miami really swamped by Washington at the Orange Bowl today. So the long home winning streak of the Hurricanes that lasted nearly a decade goes by the boards. There's the handoff to Olandis Gary. Flag is down.
We probably got a holding.
Gary takes it up to the State 31-yard line.
Never thought the Huskies could go to the Canes house and do a number on them.
It's very impressive the way Washington was able to handle Ohio State earlier this season. And a big win tonight against Miami.
Here we'll get the call. Offsides on State.
All right.
Normally the umpire calls a hold.
Yeah.
Across the way, the linesman there, he would call an offsides or a motion.
We have offsides on the defense, declines, second down.
No getting over to the, I think Jim Dunnan's just going to let the play stand. They'll take the play rather than the 5-yard penalty. It'll be 2nd down and 1 at the 31-yard line. How about the Southern Conference? Georgia Southern in a must-win situation at UTC, coming through and stopping their losing streak. They had to have a win, and they got it.
I think the Herd owes they owed the Mocs a little something after last year.
Wicks loses a yard. It'll be 3rd down and 2.
I don't think Coach Don is going to have any trouble getting them ready to play next week.
No, I don't think so either. And while West Virginia State stepped up in class to play Marshall in this game, elsewhere in the Southern Conference, East Tennessee State had their problems with Auburn.
Auburn loosened their pads.
Yeah, they were screaming War Eagle down there on the plains, knocking off the Bucks 38-0. And Western Carolina loses to North Carolina State.
They like those big paydays.
3rd and 3. Here's the pitch to Gary, running hard. How about that? What a great run to the 25-yard line. That's a gain of 9 for Olandis Gary. We talked about his story before. He was recruited by quite a few big-name teams like Maryland and Cincinnati, and he ran into a couple of freshmen at an all-star game from the D.C. area that were heading to Marshall, and they said, why not come along? And the all-time leading rusher from Upper Marlboro, Maryland High School, opted to do that, and they really like him. Here he comes again, the true freshman. Gary spinning inside the 15. I think he's got another first down.
He showed some big-time moves right there.
We're clicking down to a minute to go in the game. This will probably be Marshall's final offensive play of the game. I would anticipate that Jim Donnan would take a knee after this play. Brian Day under center. And here's Gary.
And there goes Gary.
And he battles his way down to the 12-yard line. It is a Marshall first down. Our Bank One Ashland Oil player of the game, Tim Martin. The sophomore from Soddy Daisy, Tennessee, had 3 touchdown receptions in the first half, and that was probably the best of the bunch. A great over-the-shoulder catch. So Tim Martin, our Ashland Oil Bank One player of the game, a $100 donation to the Morrow Library on the campus of Marshall University, heading there in the name of Tim Martin, our player of the game. There goes Mark Wicks. Wicks is inside the 10, down to the 7-yard line on what will be the final play of tonight's game.
And regardless of what tailback they put in there, there's no difference, no drop-off.
48-0.
And that's going to do it here, David.
Our final score. Scott Tinsley and Jim Donnan, the head coach of the Herd, meet in the middle of the field. First ever meeting at the new stadium between these two teams. Scott Tinsley will now begin preparing for his matchup against the top-ranked team in NAIA football, the Glenville Pioneers. And for Jim Donnan, it's into league play against the Tennessee Chattanooga Moccasins next week. It's over at Marshall Stadium. Marshall wins it over West Virginia State, 48-0. First down, State with only 3 in the first half. The real big story, Todd Donnan, 242 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, 3 touchdown passes to Tim Martin, who caught 10 balls for 128 yards. For my colleagues Mark Martin and Sonny Randall, Dave Weekley saying so long from Marshall University Stadium in Huntington, West Virginia. Once again, our final score, 48-0. We'll see you next time along the Thundering Herd. Now